Hello, hello. Happy Friday. Hey, Kevin. I was just writing up the today command, which is why the intro stayed on for a little bit longer. Adam is finally working on content beyond the Skeleseller demo now that Next Fest is wrapping up. He will probably implement some new adventures, work on some new adventurers today. Okay. So there's that. Let's get through some of this stuff that I have here. One is to have Steam chat open, which I don't think anyone's going to actually chat there, but that's fine. Let's keep it open anyway. So let's put that there. Let's put this over here. Cool. All right, and then I don't think we need to do this again. You threw my head that I need to try marketing. Yeah, so I think starting on Monday, maybe even sooner than that, but goal, reach out to 2 new YouTubers per day, every day for a month. What day is Monday? The 16th? Yeah, let's do that. That would be reaching out to 60 YouTubers, which actually isn't even enough. Maybe we need to reach out to 3 per day. Actually, I don't know. Yeah, let's just start with that. How about every day for a week? We start with it that way. From there, figure out how that did and whether I should change the plan at all. All right, yeah, need to get through my head that I need to try marketing. Don't feel like the game sucks. Don't feel like the game sucks because I haven't gotten word out yet. Yeah, I mentioned that the main goal of Next Fest was to figure, where is this? Oh, darn it. Everything is in the wrong spot. Let me move this to the right spot. Yeah, I'll just delete this. Oops. That's an X. That's not cut. There we go. Let's put this here. And copy this to there. Set it to today and tab this back. Iron Crusader, thanks for the resub. Welcome back. Happy 1/6 of a year. Good to see you. I wrote the main goal from Next Fest is to figure out if we have a game problem or a marketing problem. I think we have a marketing problem. It's tough to say because we don't get the granularity of feedback to know whether or not people are enjoying the game. There are people who are leaving some reviews, but it's been, I think, 2 people. Yeah, we're up to 13. And if we sort by recent, yeah, only these 2 are people I don't think I know. So anyway, that's just kind of inconclusive. But yeah, I think it's a marketing problem. Hey, Chef Alton. Yeah, brick time, essentially. After 2 months of marketing, if I don't feel significantly different, then I may have an actual problem. Yeah, so I guess that's going to be the thing. If after 1 to 2 months of marketing, I feel like the game isn't catching on, then I think we could have a game problem. And what else? It's all part of gaining experience doing game dev, which is part of sustainability. Yeah, man. Okay, so I don't want to ramble about this forever. So I kind of want to just say a couple of things. One, Botland lasted for 5 years, commercial failure, learned a ton about myself, game dev, etc. I think that every game you do, you're going to get better at making every game afterward, whether just because you're faster at it, because you learn what to prioritize, because you get better at marketing. So I look at this sort of Next Fest experience as being valuable for the next game, not super valuable for Skeleseller. I mentioned it was like 75 wish lists per day. That means that we got about 300 wish lists more, and we probably would have gotten like maybe 5 per day. So really we got about 280, maybe 70 per day. It doesn't matter. Anyway, we got about 300 wish lists. This is not crazy. We are sitting at maybe like 2100-ish. So most people suggest that to launch your game, you need many thousands. And we are in the small number of thousands. But I think reaching out to YouTubers and stuff, that'll help. That'll probably get me another few thousand if I do it well and if they actually like the game. And then beyond that, it's just normal marketing stuff. So I do want to keep pursuing this. I want to roughly target like 3 months from now for the launch, which would put us at September like mid-September. I think that would be good. I don't know how doable that is, and I'm not really thinking about it from that point of view. I'm just thinking about how much longer would I want to spend on this. And then after that, I think I'd want to work on another game. So there, that's it. That's my high-level plans. Feel free to ask questions if you have them. But yeah, I think this is the key thing here, and I definitely want to file this. Next Fest and the grieving. Yeah. Hey, Leap Year Girl. How's the code jam going? All right, development is happening. Could just take a break, address the item drop rate issue. This would be something nice to do. I think we should do this eventually. Maybe this is like stuff to prioritize even though we're working toward launch. Is this how not to panic about coding if you're very new? I think I always kind of talk about goals. Like, what are your goals with this? And from what you've said, it's produce something for the code jam and learn and hopefully have fun. So you will probably accomplish goal number 1 as long as you're accomplishing goals 2 and 3. And you probably already are learning. So as much as possible, take it one step at a time. I know this is somewhat difficult to do and it might feel overwhelming. I know you mentioned on Discord that, hey, there's only a month. That's a pretty short amount of time. But if you think about it, like you have, if your goal is to produce something for the game jam, you could split this into sub goals of like step 1, get something to render. Step 2, get the first part of what we actually want to render. Step 3, so on and so forth, such that this first part shouldn't be too bad. And you could think about it like just add a button to the page and show some text when it's clicked. Like this is what I think is probably a pretty good first step if I were doing that code jam. You have that template repo. Adding a button should be something there are a lot of tutorials for on the internet. I think Kevin even shared some code on Discord. So yeah, I'd say as much as possible, take it one step at a time. It's if everything feels overwhelming, it's like cut down the amount of stuff that you're taking in and that you're focusing on. And hang in there. I think you're gonna do great. And as I mentioned, I think you'll probably end up learning quite a lot. Hey noob, make the next RuneScape or WoW. I promise it'll succeed. You know what's funny is MMOs have changed so drastically since WoW came out. Like WoW launched and a bunch of other people, I mean, it wasn't the first MMO, but a bunch of other people tried MMOs after that and they all did, you know, here or there well or poorly, but not like runaway success. And then the only other one that I think has kind of come close to that has been Final Fantasy 14. Like even Amazon released New World. And I don't think that ever had like millions of players or something. Hey, Siyosh. Yeah, Leap Year Girl, all the more reason to focus on just kind of one step at a time. And you have been making progress. That's another thing. Don't ignore the successes that you have. Like, could you have added buttons 2 weeks ago even? Probably not. And now you can. And 2 weeks from now, you'll be able to do something that you couldn't do today. So as much as you can, try to like look back on that stuff and pat yourself on the back. Close battle button in the battle window to say that it'll end this. Okay, this is a small change. In fact, this is so small. Let's just file this here. Modify close battle tooltip. This is just a string change. Close battle button in the battle window to say it'll end the battle if it's ongoing and return your adventurers to town. There has been some confusion about this. That filed. Okay. And then consider having the extractor lever be off by default and glowing and have a tip telling you to turn it on. Yeah, a bunch of people talk about the, you know, let's file this too. Just take it off the to-do list. Yeah, I wish you luck, Leap Year Girl. I think, you know, if you've ever heard about imposter syndrome, the thing that convinced me the most, hey, Wendy, thanks for the raid. Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. How's it going? Hey, Future Millennium. You know, I posted on Discord and you said the same thing. There he is, look. And I'm like, does Future Millennium dislike me? Is this just a joke? How'd your stream go, Wendy? How's everything happening? To go very briefly into what I was just talking about, just to finish this topic really fast. So imposter syndrome is basically thinking that everyone else knows more than you and you're not doing a good job. And the thing that convinced me that this will never totally go away for some people is there's a book called Creativity by John Cleese. And whoops, if I could type his name there. This is an incredibly short book. Like the audiobook for this is an hour. And one of the things he mentioned is that one of the members of the Beatles still felt imposter syndrome. And like everybody knows the Beatles. And I don't know how good they are relative to every other musician, but like, you know, they were toward the top. So if you feel it even when you're at that level and you have global fame, then probably we have no real hope of totally conquering it as individuals. So yeah, just try to improve. Just try to keep getting better. Hey, your mom. Live every day with it. Hey, Matt. Yeah, I am feeling refreshed. Yeah. And yeah, I wrote a blog post on it a while ago too. And it was my own thoughts. And it's those blog posts are almost to convince myself about this sort of thing. Anyway, for Windy viewers who have not already heard, I'm working on Skeleseller. We are finally now, it's Next Fest right now, but we're finally moving past Next Fest. Everything that I've been doing the last like probably 2 months, maybe 3 months has been like, oh, Next Fest is coming up. We got to get ready for this. So as an example, let's say something could be slightly better in the shop experience in the game. Like we might improve that. Whereas today we're going to try to move past all of that stuff and add some new content to the game. So what I think the general plan is going to be is we're going to figure out how to move forward with some stuff and then probably work on adventurers. We have 3 new adventurers planned. There's the golem, the spirit caller, and the mushroom. So the adventures get a little bit more unusual as you unlock more and more of them. Yeah, and if someone's curious about it, let me see if I can find that. Adam learns. It should be pretty easy. Also, what is on my clipboard right now? Because I think I meant to file a new issue. Yeah, I did not file that issue. This one. Okay, so let's go file this over here. Make the extractor lever more apparent. After seeing people play the demo for Next Fest, it's apparent that people don't read the tooltip for the extractor perk. We should consider having the extractor lever be off by default and glowing, and maybe even have a tip telling you to turn it on, that it exists. Cool. Yep. Great. So Wendy, how'd the stream go? Did you take a break? Sorry, I just caught the end of that discussion. Yeah. Yeah, I had a little bit of a breakdown. not like a panic attack, but I kind of consider it sort of like grieving. You know, the grieving process is the 5 stages of get mad, get mad, get mad, and then finally accept things. What is it? Shock and denial, pain and guilt, anger and bargaining, depression and loneliness, and the upward turn. Yeah, so I felt this way about Next Fest a little bit. Wish lists have been at about plus 75 per day, which is much more than it normally is, but much less than what I expected, I guess. And it just made me kind of confront some of these things. Also, I'd been working quite a lot, and I think I just needed to take a break. So yesterday and the day before, I took some time off. And then yesterday, something kind of nice happened. I'm trying this new sort of mantra of action begets motivation. I've always been pretty motivated and disciplined, but it's been really hard just working toward one milestone for so long. So last night I was like, man, it's 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. I could go play a game, but why don't I just spend like 30 minutes on my to-do list and triage some issues? And that went pretty well. And then I worked on the music for Skeleseller, and I actually did, how do I show this? Here. The music probably ended at like this measure, so like measure 50-ish, and I got all of this stuff done, and I like cleaned up some of the other things that are there. I'll play just this bit. I don't like teasing the music and then not showing it. Let's start from here. Anyway, like I wouldn't have done that if I hadn't had that little mantra there. By the way, I just realized as I was listening to that, it's not totally done, but it's pretty close to done. But music, I should really fade in the electric piano melody at the end, maybe with a measure of lead in, and fade out the clarinet. That way it's not as jarring. Yeah. Okay, what did I miss? Yeah, thanks, Wendy. Streaming well, trying to learn C sharp. Things are a bit mental. And so, maybe that sounded more dramatic than I wanted it to, the whole grieving process thing. I just think of it as whenever you're given any sort of bad news, you have expectations and they're let down, you have an adjustment period. And I think I've gone through that adjustment period. So I'm feeling pretty good right now, and I'm feeling motivated to work on new stuff. I think that's another thing. Maybe maybe I should write that down. The other part of Next Fest that I think is important is that it's not the end all be all of the game. You need other marketing. Also, you can't just work toward that one milestone forever or you'll burn out. Mix in some new content for the game that works toward launch. Do other activities, etc. Yeah. Hey, Moscow Busto. 2 days to snuggle the wife. We took a nap yesterday and the cat slept like right on top of us. It's very funny. If you ever want to talk, I'm always about. Don't pin too much of your worth on wish list. Never have a high wish list on any game I made. GMC had a few thousand when I launched it. Yeah, and I think it's hard to sort of come to terms. I've basically only launched one Steam game before this. And all the other games I've made have not had either like a launch that needed to happen, or they haven't had any monetary expectations or even the ability to make money. It was really only Botland that could have made money. And that did pretty poorly, but I wasn't really watching wishlist for that. And since it was a free-to-play game, it meant that there were a lot more downloads than there probably would have been. So yeah, I don't have the experience setting behind this, and I guess I have some sort of internal expectations. By the way, if you ever have any questions about C sharp, feel free to ask me. See how that goes. Hey, pleb. Okay, so let us get to the work. So there are 2 things on the list for today that are not specifically coding. Stuff is deleted. One is figure out how to separate the demo from the main game. So I gotta like write a design document for this. Let's go start that up. Give me a sec. This takes a minute because I gotta find exactly where this is in a secret folder. There. Is this in shared? It's in public. Okay, here we go. I don't need to share this document. I just need to make sure it's not in a private area. One thing on the list, telling Adam he made a great game. No, but it was probably something like, don't let Next Fest get me down. I don't know. Going well so far and learning loads. Nice. Yeah, also, this isn't the first time you've tried, right? I remember you mentioning learning Unity and C sharp going back as far as I think small number of years ago. Hey, GGUU. Okay, so this is going to be demo versus launch in terms of content gating. Overview. It's simple. I don't want people who download the demo to have the full game for free. And I'll just write some thoughts here. This is not going to be a document we probably ever look at again, although I put this here, document. Actually, I could just paste it like that. So options. One would be don't publish a build with content I don't want people having. 2 would be publish a build with the content I don't want them having, but don't let people access it. And goals. Whoa, what in the world? I think my camera just restarted. That was weird. I was like, what's that white square on the side of on the periphery of my vision? Tried a few times and now I'm fully invested. Solo again and have to start from scratch on a new game, so it's either learn C# or return to my old ways, and don't want to return to that. I see. So wait, are you changing Star Gunners? So I don't want to maintain 2 code bases. I don't think we have to. Like, this is the safest. This is the safest because there's no chance of people accessing stuff they don't have. But then I need to publish a totally different build. So if I'm not publishing the full content in the demo, then I probably have some combination of if and pound if statements all over the place. I mean, I'm going to need that either way, I suppose. Well, no, I don't technically need it if I have 2 code bases. No longer in development. Program left the project and it's too big a project for solo. I see, man. You know, I still had that idea a long time ago that what if, and I know you said you're open to this and I haven't followed up and I'm probably not going to follow up for a long time anyway, but what if I just took all of your assets and made my own game and then split the revenue with you? Not for Star Gunners, but for like GMC, I was thinking. But I don't even have a game idea in mind for that. I have been thoroughly thinking. So right now it's going to be Skeleseller for the next few months. Probably the rest of the year, even if we launch, just due to support. And then after that, I have the new game idea in mind already. I don't want to talk about it too much because I think it's too early for that, but yeah. But anyway, I'm sorry to hear about Star Gunners. I'm guessing you had your own sort of grieving process for that too, because I remember what it felt like when I was like, oh man, I got to move on from Botland. That hit me hard. That hit me harder than the Next Fest stuff hit me. Yeah. Oh yeah, sorry. I'm typing and talking. I usually don't make that sort of mistake. Yeah, very rough time. Yeah, I imagine. Well, anyway, I hope things are looking up. Onwards and upwards. Excelsior. Plus, I guess you could always find a programmer at some point. It's not like the project's just done for good. Hey, Campbell Soup. Yeah, I'm happy to be streaming again today. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling refreshed. I think that was important. So not publishing the full content in the demo, I probably have some combination of if and pound if statements all over the place. I kind of want to just do what's easiest. Like, how much am I worried about? Let's take a concrete example. I'm going to add another adventurer in the game. The easiest way to stop people from getting it in the demo is to just code something like num adventurers in demo equals 7, even though I have 8 total. So yeah, then we would stop you from loading save files that try loading too many adventurers. Can you make a branch and trim the things you don't want? So when I say 2 code bases, I guess I mean, or branches here, I'm just, the rationale behind this is I don't want to fix some core part of the game and then have to like backport it to the demo. I just think that would be too tedious for us to do. Oh, preposterous. Yeah, I remember Noob. Take care, Wendy, and thanks for the raid. Hey, dig it. Just wondering what's the background on you writing what you're saying. Don't think you did this back when working on Botland. Oh no, I did it when I was working on Botland too. Yeah. The background is just I wanted people who are dropping in midway through a conversation, if we're still talking, to see all of the stuff that we talked about. And I think it makes it more followable. How hard would it be to make a game like State of Decay but retro style with like Skeleseller? I don't know what State of Decay is, so I can't comment just based on the question. Is this, I mean, just based on the pictures, it looks like an open world survival game, maybe a first person shooter. Zombie horror survival video game series. Is it a first person shooter? Anyway, third person survival horror. Okay. Well, how hard would it be to make that, but in the style of Skeleseller? I mean, I think these games already exist. In a sense, isn't Terraria like that game? It's got bright and cheery looking graphics, but the the actual game itself is pretty deep. Hey, Smash. Last big update in the demo, and the newest one is only in the paid version. Terraria is side scrolling. I guess I don't totally understand the question still. But anyway, whatever you're trying to do, I think the difficulty doesn't come from the aesthetics or from the presentation itself. And like I said, I haven't played State of Decay, so this is me talking totally out of my assumptions. But it's probably a huge game. And just probably in terms of how much content there has to be and activities to do, and maybe there's multiplayer. And like these things on their own, it doesn't really matter how you're presenting it. This is just work. So if you want to bundle it into like a retro style game versus a realistic 3D game versus a side scrolling game, it's not going to change too much. I mean, realistic 3D is going to change your asset cost drastically, but no matter what, you're still going to need the same game underneath it all. If you want to use a branch for the demo, we could just have commits that only remove things. So we could just rebase on main when things are updated, and at most we need to remove more things. Is this wishful thinking? Let me think about this. Like, I think we're gonna get to intertwined commits that become hard to remove. So suppose as part of adding a new adventurer that we change how skills render or fix a bug with the layout. Let's just change how skills work such that the demo adventurers are all affected. We need to commit that to 2 places. Hey, Magnetic Bind. Next Fest is... It's okay. I've got it in the today command there. I'm kind of moving past that, though. I think we're going to just focus on working toward launch. So the ifs in code and had 2 different game configs. Unreal, not Godot. Which control which levels the game had. Yeah, I think that's what I'm leaning toward. Yeah. I think it'll be straightforward. It'll also probably guarantee that the save file from the demo works with the full game. Just main and pull from main in the demo. Yeah, but then there's like a whole other set of testing that needs to be done because it'd be 2 code bases. Like what happens if there's a bug in the demo that we just don't find because we're testing the launch version most of the time? Yeah, I think this is easy. So the only risk here is we open the game up somehow for free. And honestly, in this case, it's like, is this different from pirating? Like, as long as the way to get the full game is something that takes a ton of effort, then people will always get the game for free. You only focus on retro graphics, or will you be building with Unreal 5? So I don't do any artwork myself, and I'm glad you like the demo. But I think the next game I make, I already have an idea for it. I think it's going to be in Godot. And I have a lot of hopes for this, but I need to spend time designing it, and now is just not the time to design it. How much do you want to limit the demo? I think what we have right now, I want to pretty much just like stop there for the demo. The demo already has a good amount of content. In fact, possibly too much. We could probably trim it down by another half hour or so, and I think it'd be okay. So yeah, I think the if statements thing is what we're going to do. So in the demo right now is everything you see in the game that I'm about to show. We have the enchanter, we have the farm, the fishing pond, the tavern, the town hall. We have all of these locations, which includes 2 bosses, 7 adventurers, all of the skills for those 7 adventurers. That's 49 skills you can click through. And then all of the perks that you see. So I'm missing something, the garbage slime. Yeah, there are 5 sets of perks for a total of, I'm just going to estimate here, like 30 perks or something. You like energy drinks? I don't have any caffeine or energy drinks now. Oh, I got to check in this. Add unused monster graphic. Game is going to blow. I appreciate the confidence, Mark. Yeah, I think this is what we're going to do. So figure out how to separate this. So that's my conclusion. I think compile time ifs are fine. Plus in future, you can add global search and remove them. Yeah, and I think it's just the easiest way to proceed. Easiest way to proceed is just via if statements here. E.g., we can have a constant for how many adventurers are in the demo. If you try loading a save file that has too much of something, then we can block it. Rationale, stopping efforts here is like stopping piracy, except possibly slightly easier, because we can always push a new demo build that fixes an exploit, but we can't control pirated games, or pirated copies, I guess. Yeah. Have you thought about allowing us to equip our heroes with gear refine? Yeah, that's been a big thing that's come up a lot, to the point where if I don't already, I should probably have an equipment command. But the short story is that I don't want to allow it. Oh, in fact, the longer story, I wrote up a whole thing about it. Let me go find that really fast. It should not take very long, because we just click here and then this. Yeah, so how do we copy a link to this? How do we copy a link to this? Oh, it's at the bottom. Adam doesn't want to add equipment to Skeleseller. The rationale is here, although it may be a bit dated. There we go. 1 year free of gardening. What? Are those 2 things related? Make sure this new adventure isn't in the demo. All right, then the next thing I wanted to do, which is not necessary to do today, is I want to figure out how to reuse areas on the map. I like that the battle map is only this size, and it's okay if we expand it a bit. I think adding another, 3-4 locations is fine, but adding something like 15 more locations, it's just a lot to look through, and you have no reason to go back to old locations. So what people have suggested in the past is like, oh, put a difficulty thing on here, and you can click the plus button a few times, and now the forest becomes level 5. And it's like, yeah, but I guess we need to change the rewards. What happens if a customer wants a small blue potion, you can't find them anymore? So are we like changing the value of small blue potions? What happens if we level up the forest, but you also get small blue potions from the volcano? So at some point we need to answer these questions. And the other kind of minor problem is that the boss locations are places you only go to once, and it's not really what people expect. So we probably need to do something there too. Wouldn't it be possible to use cheat engine to manipulate some variables or remove the barrier? Yeah, it would be. Yeah. And like I said, I don't think there's a big reason to stop that sort of thing from happening. Like, how many people are going to play the demo and then be like, how do I get the full game for free? Because if they do that, if they're looking up how to get Skeleseller for free, aren't they just finding a pirate site and just downloading it anyway? At which point it doesn't matter what I do for the demo. Like, I'm not going to put DRM in the game. So that's, I recognize the easier you make it, that like, let's say there was a checkbox right here in the menu that said get game for free. And then it said like on the tooltip, please abide by the honor system. Like, people would click that and get the game for free, because that's so easy. But if they have to use cheat engine, if they have to modify something, I feel like, fine, it's a big enough barrier for now. So yeah, this is something we got to do, but I don't think we're going to do now. So I think we're going to work on the new adventurers. So what we should probably do is take a vote on which one people want to see first, because I don't really particularly care which one we work on. And there are three. So there's the golem, the mushroom, and the spirit caller. And they all have their complexities. So let me describe what these are, and then I'll take a quick poll and people can vote on it. Where are the class designs there? Okay, so golem is a mitigation tank with self-healing. The spirit caller is a summoner, but not a tank. And the mushroom is a glass cannon damage dealer. Yeah. And I'll show you the graphics too. Although those might be slightly harder to find. And then we'll take the poll. Wait. That's not. No, the golem's already in the game. So I can already, well, the graphics are already in the game. Where are they? Characters. Okay, so that's what the golem looks like. The spirit caller. Give me a sec. And the mushroom. I'm just doing this so people can, whoops. Did not mean to do that. I'm just doing this so people can vote on this. I'll pull up all the graphics. Oh, nice. I have them all right here, actually. Okay, so there's the golem, there's the spirit caller, and there's the mushroom character. So now we're going to take a poll. /poll. Which adventurer should Adam work on first? Well, today. Because it'll probably take all day. So golem, spirit caller. There. Start poll. All right, cast your votes. Like I said, it doesn't matter. They're all complex. We're gonna get to all of them eventually. So it's just which one do you want to see today? And I'll keep the graphics open, I guess. Although you won't be able to see them because I'll be blocking it. So in the past, the way that it's worked to make adventurers is it takes about probably 2 days. Like adding in the adventurer and the graphics and setting up all the boilerplate, that takes like 20 minutes. But then the skills are usually unique enough where I've got to code like some totally different part of the battle system. All right, I don't think they're going to be like a wave of votes. So we're probably going to the mushroom here. Hey, Puppet. Where were we with the wishlist count? At about 2,100. Next Fest didn't really move the needle a ton. Okay, so let's start with the mushroom adventure. Thank you for your votes, everybody. So we're going to do this. Work on a new adventurer. So there's the task. And we need to do this too. Other tasks. Make sure this new adventure is in a demo. Shouting out will help today. It probably did. It's just I think we just need like a lot of eyes on the game. And it's like, okay, even if every single one of Kit's followers had went and downloaded the game and wishlisted it, not followers, sorry, that would be a lot. Viewers at the time, let's say 2,500 people went and wishlisted the game. This is still like what some of these games are getting in Next Fest in the course of like a couple days without some, mega influencers doing anything. Anyway, it's not to say I'm not grateful. It all still helps. And I probably shouldn't be focusing on it too much. And like I said, I'm feeling pretty good. I feel like I've mostly moved past it. There's like the tiniest bit of something that I'm going to still process this weekend, and then I should just be fine. But I'm feeling pretty excited about working on this stuff. Okay, so we need a name for this character. We need a name for them. It could just be Mushroom, but I feel like we should come up with something. And then we need to look at what skills they have. Where are the skills? Here it is. So innate abilities. Okay, yeah, there were some difficult things that we had here. And now how many of these? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Interesting. Yeah, look over the abilities one more time. Let's try to come up with a name first. So first of all, if we did call them Mushroom, all adventure data, would that fit? Or does that like do something weird? Mushroom. I recognize that testing this in English is not sufficient here. And there's probably some language where the word rogue or mage or mushroom or whatever is like way too many characters. But I'm curious what happens. Yeah, it just goes outside of the bounds of this. In this case, it's not too much. I kind of want to just call it mush. Hang on, let me look up the mushroom. What is the etymology of mushroom? From French, musero, ultimately from late Latin, Syrian. Spore. So spore wouldn't be bad if people knew that it was intentional. Otherwise, it sounds to me almost like a mistranslation of mushroom. Also, do we have spore here? No, we don't. Mushy. I like mushy. Shroom. Hey, Devin. Yeah, I kind of like this. Although maybe with a Y. No, maybe no, because I guess that's an English word if it's with a Y. Yeah, I think I want to go with this. Okay, let's at least start with that. We can always change the display name later. Actually, I guess the word rogue never shows up in any file names, nor does mage. They're all just data. So yeah, I guess changing in the future is fine. So okay, let's call it mushy or shroomy. But I like mushy. Shroomy is a good backup name. Yeah. Okay, now let's look over the skills before we make them, just to make certain that this character makes sense. So 7-second cooldown, tons of damage. This attack has recoil and will damage the... Let's call this mushy for now. Oh. Will damage the mushroom. Maybe I should say mushy. Extra damage dealt to an enemy when killing them is transferred. Extra damage dealt to an enemy. I'll say overkill damage dealt to an enemy is transferred to another enemy. Finds the enemy with the highest life. It can chain. And instantaneously heal the full at the end of battle so there's no regeneration time. This is really minor to the point where I'm not even sure it should be a skill. But sure. All right, so close call. When at less than X% life, gain even more power. Preparedness. Enter a battle with X% of your regular cooldowns. There's only one cooldown, though. Yeah. It could also affect when you come back from the dead. That's kind of interesting. Overkill can chain to other enemies. Every time you attack, this resets at the end of battle. This is probably pointless. Yeah, this one's questionable. Double damage to a single enemy? What? Did I mean for this to be on death? I think I did. In which case, this character kind of has to die, which is pretty interesting. I'll say when dying. X seconds after death, revive with Y% life if there's room in the battle. Frenzy, every X attacks go into a frenzy and attack Y% faster, maybe only for so many attacks. X attacks can occur across battles. Storing something across battles is not something we've ever done before. And I'm kind of hesitant about this. Hey, TJ. Okay, well, these all sound fine. And that's 5. We would like to have 2 more. I think we'd have to probably change. Like, this could be a skill. If this isn't a skill, though, how is this working? And then what are we having as an innate ability? Actually, the regeneration could be during battle as well. Maybe they also heal during battle, like an anti-zombie. I think that would be pretty neat. Yeah, in fact, I think that would make a lot of sense. Hey, Maniac. Jello to you too. Well, so the poison attacker damage over time isn't something I really wanted to do with this class. I wanted them to just have like an attack and it does a lot of damage. And by this point in the game, you'd have them in a party with other people. So they would be a very fragile character. In fact, the regeneration would just be like a minor perk. Should they have another active ability? I don't want every character to be healing themselves. And all of the latest characters have healing for themselves. In fact, like half the characters in the game do. So I'm not totally sure how I feel about that. Because once we come up with a full list, I can just start coding this stuff. I'm not. Yeah, I'm just kind of thinking that they should only have the attack. I don't even think I want them to have anything defensive. I mean, maybe they could increase the power of other allies. Although even then, I kind of wonder if that should be the thing. Maniac, please, please don't do this. Just even as a joke, I just don't appreciate it. The regen self-resurrection kind of go against them being a glass canyon. Well, kind of. I mean, if they die, the regeneration, I'm not totally sold on. Like I think as a thematic thing, I like it, but not as a functional thing. So maybe this is just for the theme and not for any real change. Usually they could heal 1% life every like 5 seconds, which is effectively not healing at all since it's 6% over a 30-second battle. Like, so this is more for the theming, right? If they were healing, 10% life every second, then yeah, they're mitigating the glass cannon aspect. Also, I guess I should probably look at some of the other characters here to see what do we do in terms of damage for this stuff. It's just more of everything. They can gain another ability too at some point. What if they got a faster attack? There could be like when they get hit, they damage the enemy. But I guess that's already kind of like how the warrior works. Yeah. Does a regen counteract their attack's recoil effect? I'm not even certain I like the idea of this recoil. Maybe the attack has recoil. Hold that function. Yeah. Oh no, okay, gotcha, Maniac. Yeah. Sorry. Either way, it was just a 1 minute thing. I just don't want people getting in the habit. Also, I try never to time people out or ban people as a joke. I know they do that in other people's streams too, and I feel like it messes with chat. Okay, so I like this. I like this, although this could potentially be, maybe this is a learned skill. No, I don't think it should be. So what else do I want this thing doing? The healing to full at the end of battle is really important because this character is probably dying all the time and they do a bunch of things on death. Also, this should probably change to like Heart of the Forest or something like that. X seconds after death, revive with 5% life. I do like that. I still like this. I like this, but I'm not sure how many points you can put into it. Come back from the dead. Gaining more power, attack faster. The more power thing would definitely help. Attacking faster, I don't think needs to happen. And then the other idea that I had is that right now in the game, there is no skill that has a maximum of 3 points. But we could just start to do that. We could say, oh, these later classes only have 5 skills, but you can put 3 points into some of them so that we just don't need 7 of them. It makes a character a little bit more one-dimensional because there's a little bit less flexibility you have in some of these choices, but like, does it really matter? Kind of any skill you'd be getting would just be doing more damage. Hey, Darkstorm. Recoil myself to death, getting stronger, and then revive sounds cohesive. Regen seems like a different line. I guess it'd keep you at the higher power, low HP spot for longer. Maybe the regen kicks in at low life. Maybe this only kicks in at low life, but not so low that close call won't work. Should there be any sort of like buff or debuff sort of thing? So this has the undying stuff. There are 2 of those. Maybe we can play into that a little bit more. Like if they die 3 times in a battle, that something happens, but that'll only affect boss battles. Like I think this character needs to be dying. Yeah. This should probably happen so that the character actually does die. Since they have skills based around them dying. I guess if you have a cleric, though, they're always going to heal this character. So should there be one other death-related thing? What would it even be? Like heal your allies? That could be kind of interesting. Could heal allies on death. And death happens a decent amount. The only issue with that... Actually, you know what? Accelerated regeneration could potentially work on the entire party. Like double the party's regeneration time. Maybe this could double the... Or not the time. Double the party's regeneration rate. This would be nuts, though. So maybe we don't do that. But that actually, that as a learned skill, like everyone heals to full faster. So your auto battles are like as fast as possible, pretty much. It'd be kind of interesting. Could increase regen rate of the whole party with a learned skill. Would it make sense for him to care about other characters dying in any way? No, probably not. Because the only other, like, most adventurers won't die in an average battle. So only summons might die. And I don't even think summons... How did I make this work? Yeah, no. The only summons that can die are the Witch Doctor. So I'd be making, if other characters died, I'd be making a synergy with pretty much just the Witch Doctor, which I don't think is probably worth it. They could be something on when the enemies die that something happens, but that's already kind of what overkill is, which is like you killed an enemy, but that's when you trigger it, I guess. But I still think that's probably good enough. Okay, I like this idea. I think this is interesting. I don't know if people will see the utility of this, and I don't think this is something they'd want to invest many skill points into, because this is basically like, hey, you have a farming party and they're losing enough life, but and then this will make them attack faster. Yeah, so this is possible. And if we were to say like what the max level of these things would be, max level here could be 2. Max level here is probably 1. Max level here could be 2. No, I think we gotta... We could say the max level of that is 3, but yeah, I think we have to come up with at least 1 or 2 more. See, the problem is I want it to be unique. Like, we have a bunch of ideas from other characters that we could just apply here. Like there is damage over time in the game. I know Masidian is talking about this, but like we could just put a damage over time on this character. I don't think there's a need for that in particular. I also don't think there's a need for AoE because of the overkill thing. And I'm not sure about a buff, and we just don't have that many other things that the battle can do. It's like, it's got to be something here that we've pretty much already done. And I could give them another ability, but I don't know what that ability would be. Maybe when overkill is triggered, it lowers the cooldown. This character's going to be doing a lot. Because it, yeah. Available skill points label when starting or finishing a battle. Yes. Yeah, we should look into that and fix that. This is when starting or finishing a battle. Maybe something like how much HP Mushy is missing buffs ally regen or some relational amount. I don't know if I want. I don't think I want them to heal your party in battle. I think healing them after battle is fine. In fact, I think the whole healing themselves is probably not something I'll end up doing. Summoning, yeah, I think we already have enough summoners that I don't think we need another one of these. But I wonder, it could be on a long enough cooldown. The problem with these cooldowns, though. Anyway, if it were on a long enough cooldown, I guess what would this represent? It'd represent like another heavy attack sort of thing happening. And it would also turn them a little bit into a tank if that summon could be targeted. So, okay, let me think about this. I don't want a DOT because of the overkill mechanic. I don't want them to heal because we have enough healers. And I don't want to mitigate the glass part of the class. I don't want them to summon because that would either let them tank or it would be on a long enough cooldown that it may not matter. Also, battle space may be at a premium at that point. So that leaves another ability, buffs, debuffs, and some other way of increasing damage. And we have the on death thing that happens. And we have the on kill thing that happens. I feel like we should play into probably one of those two things. The thing is, this frenzy idea, it's not bad. It's just, it'd be obnoxious to code. And I just don't know if it's going to seem all that great. But yeah, I guess this is the closest to an ability that would make sense. This is every so many attacks, you pretty much like you could attack again. But those so many attacks could happen across battles. So you might start a battle and just immediately wipe out like 3 enemies. Isn't that some of the archer? The archers is not across battles. So this character only attacks once every 7 seconds. And then you can change it so that maybe they start a battle with a lower cooldown. But then, yeah, imagine if every like 5th attack, so every 35 seconds or every so many battles, they do something else. I do think it would be cool. All right, how would we code this? Because if really my only pushback is coding, then I guess it doesn't. That's not really a big problem. So we need some storage for just Mushy across battles. I guess it would be in a special component. We just track a number, really. But then we check for that tracked number in the initialization of this thing. But we would need the... Yeah, I guess we could do that. Yeah, okay, fine. This isn't too bad. Increase damage based on missing health of party members. I think I want to do that just based on the missing health of the character itself. So yeah, I do think we're going to have Frenzy in. I really only cancel this because of coding complexity. And then the increased regenerate, I think, is probably what we'll go with next. This is like improved, accelerated regeneration. Increases the regeneration rate of the whole party after a battle. This says instantaneously heal the full. We could change this to be like regenerate 50% faster, but that's not a good idea, I think. I should say, no, this has to happen before we compute regeneration times for the whole party. If this is the only character really taking damage, then you're never going to want this one. And it could be that this is a learned skill that has 2 levels. Level 1 is heal self to full. And level 2 is heal party at like 2x the normal rate. I'm not sold on that. I'm not sold on that. Is it a glass cannon you want to take damage? Yeah, yeah. So they'll do a lot of damage. They'll die. They can revive themselves. They can do something on dying. The regeneration is after a fight is over. It's not during the fight. But I'm still not sold on this. It's just an easy thing to do. I guess being able to battle faster is helpful. Just can't think of anything else. What do we even have in terms of number of levels? 2 plus 1 plus 2, 6, 9. I never came up with this, but we could say max level is 2. So that's 11. How many max levels do we have on the other characters? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13. All right, so more than this. So yeah, it makes sense that we'd have one more ability. I just can't think of what I want it to be. All right, well, I had this here. If we did add another ability, what would it be? I don't have any ideas here. I guess we run into the same problem, right? It's either more damage or it's more of a buff or something. Hey, LA, welcome in. And hey, Mario. Maybe on death, one skill or ability could transfer to another character. I mean, I guess that fits into a buff. Could happen on death. Increase the damage of an ally. Or increase the power of an ally. I wonder which ally we would choose. It could also be increase the power of all allies for X seconds. Okay, that's kind of interesting. We can call this like Spore Cloud or something. Do you intend to have them solo farm? No. Because when they die, it's gonna end the battle if they're on their own. Final attack on dying seems good. The final attack on dying already is there though. That's this death rattle or dying blow. So yeah, I think this idea of increase the power of your whole party, I think could be interesting. I think doing it of your whole party though is not great. Maybe it's just your adventurers, but then that doesn't make sense. It wouldn't help your like a witch doctor or something. I think making it be of a random, like 2 random allies or something, I think could be kind of interesting. Yeah, we could do that, or we could have that be based on the level. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so Spore Cloud. Upon dying, increase the power of X random Not even adventurers. Allies. No, it's got to be adventurers. No, wait. What does the spirit caller do? Oh, man. Spirit caller doesn't even benefit from power. So it's got to be allies, and you just wouldn't put this with summoners, I guess? Yeah. X random allies by Y. Yeah, there. Something like that. All right, so do we have 7? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. All right. I think we go code this. Let's get the graphics. We're going to start by adding in all the boilerplate stuff. Like I said, this part shouldn't take too long because I didn't make the graphics. So we just had to download these, which I might have already done. Did I do that? No. I just got the tentacle monster. Okay, let's download this. I'm doing this off screen, but this should be apparent very soon. And this. Okay, so we have adventurers and idle battlers. This now contains all of the characters. So there is Mushy. And then there is their battle animation. Or their idle animation battle, and then like an attack thing. And the way this worked is that there'd be some like spore thing that would come out of the ground. think I think Quickie Joe made that. Hang on, let me look through this really fast. Give me a second. This is gonna. It's gonna take me a little bit of time from Quickie Joe. Oh, there it is. I found it. It's this. A spore thing that shows up from the ground. Okay, that's pretty cool. Yeah. Save. Okay. Neat. Let's get to it. How long did that take it? That took about an hour. Okay, yeah, that's fine. All right, so go plug this in over here. We have adventures.png. We're just gonna replace it. Still don't know how to actually do that correctly. And then the idle battlers, that should go over here. Is it called idle battlers? Apparently in this. It's adventures in battle. Okay, so we got to rename that. There. Okay, so we load those up. Those two should be in the game now. And then we need this spore graphic. We'll put this in battle. Yeah. Cool. All right, now let's go add a new adventurer class. So I feel like the class should probably be called Mushroom and the character's name should be called Mushy, but we might actually expose the class somewhere. No, wait, no, we shouldn't do that. How do we search for this? I guess like that. We do in the battle simulator, it doesn't matter. ToString of the adventurer component. I think this is a debug thing. And what is this? The battler name. Yeah, none of that stuff should matter. Where's this called? Hopefully never. It seems like never, but it's possible that VS Code just broke. Yeah, it's never. Although I wonder if this would find the interpolated calls to this through here. It doesn't matter. I don't think we're using this. So yeah, we can just name this whatever we want. So I'm going to call it Mushroom. And then in all adventurer data, let's go make a new one of these. So we'll copy paste the archer. And you will be the mushroom named Mushy. So what is your description? Hmm. A not so gentle forest mushroom. Uh, attacks, has heavy attacks, but is quite fragile. Can come back to life. Something like that. I don't know. We'll probably improve that as we work on this stuff. Overall animation data, Adventure 6. Where are we at in here? 6 is there. Yep. 7, 8, 9. So it'll be 9. Not really a fun guy. I'm not making that joke in this game. All right, now we need ability IDs for all this other stuff. So are the names solid? Now we're just looking at the names. We already designed all the abilities. So this is heavy attack, but it's a heavy attack using the spores. So we should probably, where'd the spores go? I think this should probably be called Spore Cloud. Did we already, I put Spore Cloud down here. Upon dying, yeah. So what's this one gonna be called then? I mean, it could be something else related to spores. Okay, let's focus on that one last. Overkill. Overkill damage is dealt to an enemy is transferred to another enemy. Do we want to use that same graphic? This could be like fungal spread. This sounds terrible. All right, I don't know about naming yet. Accelerated regeneration. That one's fine. Close call. That's okay. Preparedness. That's fine. So this would be improved fungal spread. What was the name of the StarCraft 2 ability? Fungal something. Fungal growth. Yeah, I guess that sounds equally bad, right? Yeah, sure, whatever. I mean, these are just strings, so changing them in the future shouldn't be too bad, but I will probably name the constants after them. All right, death rattle or dying blow. So death rattle comes from like Shakespeare days, right? Death rattle. I thought Shakespeare popularized the actual words to describe this. I get that it's a thing that it's describing. Dying blow or death rattle. I think dying blow, we can probably do that for now. Heart of the forest. That was pretty important. Frenzy, spore cloud. Okay, so we got to rename that one then, if this is called spore cloud. Mm. It could be called something like invigorate or yeah, something like that, I think. Dying mold, invigorating mold. Oh, does this be like use spore cloud on dying? Upon death. Okay, so now let's go code these things in. Let's just copy paste everything. All right, don't care about the max level stuff. So is this 10 things? Yeah, it is. Okay, that's all of our abilities then. So we put these in here. Oh my God. think I'd be able to do this. All right, so then delete this. There. Okay. Now we just let AI fill in the these. Good. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Great. Fungus of confusion is spreading. I like it. All right, now we make sure these are unique. They should be. I definitely didn't have fungal spread. That's why I didn't search that one. Yeah, this shouldn't matter. This isn't there. Frenzy's the only one yep, we didn't use it. Break the mold. Oh boy. Not too bad. Okay. Yeah. Now let's give them those abilities. So we go into here and we paste these. These are the 3 built-in ones that they have. All right. And then these are the 7 that we put here. Cool. All right, so life. Let's lower their life a little bit. Let's raise their power, actually. Essentially dangerous. And fortitude. I think these get rounded. I hope they get rounded. Do they? Please tell me they do. Yes. Okay. If they get rounded, then let's also lower this to 0.5. All right, there we go. So character looks like they're in the game. Now, where did their idle animations come from? I guess it's pulled from the exact same spots in here. So we just need them to be in the same order. Yep. All right. Now, how do we hire them? Warrior palette. Here it is. Adventure choices. All right. I guess we'll just plug this in here for now because I don't. Oh, well, we need to stop them from being the demo at some point. I should also do this on another branch. Well, this I guess we can push. Get push. Get checkout dash B. Add mushy. Okay, so we broke something. Missing data. Yeah. I never made any of the abilities. That would be pretty valuable to do, huh? Ability ID. Okay, so let's try to find ones that are similar to the ones we already have here. So this is just an attack. So we could actually copy pretty much anything. But what's the latest character that I made? The witch doctor? The archer? I actually don't know which the latest one I made was. Oh, I guess we could figure it out just based on the adventure IDs, right? The last one was the archer, yeah. So let's look at how we did the archer for some of this stuff then. Presumably because that's what I would have incorporated the most up-to-date information that I learned from all these other ones. See how like wild shot? Did I put everything here? Rapid shot, haste percent, pierce armor, damage received percent. And split shot. Okay, I see. Out of truffle? Is it a pun on trouble? Am I missing something? Spore cloud. That's what we're calling this. Spore cloud. Spore cloud. Data goes there. Whoop, that didn't work. Okay, icon IDs. I don't want to come up with any of these things because this isn't even going to be in the demo. So these will all be temporary. So can we just use the temporary one? Can I just say none? Power scaling here is going to be bonkers. It's going to be like 2.5. Stay out of trouble. Yeah, gotcha. All right, display name is Spore Cloud. Description. Coat an enemy in fast-acting spores for damage. Yeah. Okay, so use is just going to deal damage to something for right now. We do need to have it play out in animation. And we need this to be a very long cooldown. We're not going to code all the abilities, though. In fact, how about we just get rid of the ability stuff for now? To do use the ability. Yeah. And then delete all of this. Anything else? No, that's it. Okay. Yeah. Invalid expression term. There we go. All right, so I just need to do 9 more of these and then code them all. All right, next up is fungal spread. Overkill damage dealt to an enemy is transferred to another enemy. So this is something you always have. Maybe it finds the enemy with the highest life. Maybe this can chain. That stuff I don't care about. And the chaining part is only done here. And I never said how it chains or what it does when it chains. Maybe I shouldn't code things this way then. Maybe we should code it such that I like get each ability working. I mean, I kind of just want to see the mushroom in the game. Yeah, we should probably just code each ability. Okay, fine. I guess if we wanted to test this out then, which we're probably going to want to do, then we should change this to have the other archer abilities for now. So have split shot and wild shot. So it'll shoot arrows. And then just delete all of these, which might break stuff. It probably will break stuff. So we do this and we try building this. What happens? It might detect that we don't have any skills and then break. Yeah, it looks like something did something like that. Missing. Oh, no, it's not that. It's that I never coded the abilities. Okay, so then I guess we could just get rid of the abilities, huh? Ability ID. And just delete all of these. That's not to say it still won't break. And the ability doesn't do anything, and we don't grant ourselves the mushroom class. But let's see what happens. Do they show up? Is that them right there in the back? We have to wait for them to separate. Oh my god, it is. Look at Mushy. There they are. And there's 4 cloud ability. It's beautiful. All right. Well, that was neat. Hey, Brute. Okay, so there was something that I had on my list that I wanted to do before we moved on. But I don't know what it was. I guess it was just code Spore Cloud. It's one of my innate skills too. Definitely one of mine. Atom art. All right, so stalagmite. Let's get that stalagmite sprite. So we're going to save this as Spore Cloud sprite. Spore Cloud sprite. All right, animation default. So what does this do? How do we zoom in? That way. Callback, and queue free. Yeah. So we need this to represent the frames that we have. So we're going to go add in assets, battle, spores. Now we need the right sizes for these. Let's go find out what they are. We have how many frames? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's going to be 24 by 24. Yeah. 24 by 24. Now just click and select. Add. Okay. Now let's look at that play out. It's probably a touch fast. I'm not actually sure. Why can't I lower this? Oh, now I can. All right, well, let's just see how it looks in the game. I think that's probably fine. All right, now after starting, so how long does this take? It's 6 frames per second. So that means it's going to take a tenth of a second, which means that by the time we get to here, which is probably when it should be doing damage, that it will have been like 3/10 of a second, I guess. So probably like roughly there. It's got to just look close enough. That's probably fine. Yeah, that's probably fine. All right, so just like when we look at stalagmite, it's going to be something exactly like this. So get rid of this, or we'll copy paste this over to here. All right, set animation. Sounds good. Play sound. Oh, darn it. I forgot about sounds. All right, let's just add that to the to-do list for now. Add sounds for abilities. Spore Cloud needs one. Yeah, let's just not worry about it for now. Then ability animation. This is going to be the Spore Cloud sprite. Scene paths dot spore cloud. It'd be nice if I could actually type the word sprite up. All right, scene paths stalagmite. Spore cloud. Is that what I called it? Actually, I don't know what I called it. Did I even save it? Spore cloud sprite. Okay, looks good. Then we need that. Hey, Blue Jack. Fixed a really weird error on NPM. Someone committed to main from a different OS and included a binary that only works on Mac. I'm kind of surprised. I feel like that's something people should be aware of, especially if they're on Mac. But maybe it was an accident. I mean, everyone learns. It's all good. Just roll back. Yeah. Well, also probably make sure that they know that they shouldn't be doing that. That way you sort of prevent the problem in the future. Not entirely, but kind of. You do. All right, get base damage and then deal damage. Physical. Sure. This all looks good. Okay, so then their Spore Cloud thing should work. Let's go make sure that we start with this character by default. So I think we have like higher random adventure in the beginning of this. Do we not? Yeah, here it is. Higher random adventure. Okay, so let's make this not so random. Let's say if for hire dot contains adventure class dot mushroom to return hire adventure the mushroom. Okay, so you'll always have the mushroom. Just had a stern talk on the importance of branching. Well, branching wouldn't have fixed that. You could still check in the binary to another branch, unless you're saying that you'd catch it in the PR. Well, okay, I guess they would stop them from pushing the main. I guess you had 2 problems. All right, so what happens when we put this character into a battle? They should use the ability. Oh, you can't see when I zoom like that. They're also using arrows. Ah, there were the spores. Whoa, that did a ton of damage. How much did it do? 38. Oh, I thought it said 138. All right, well, let's lower the cooldown of this to make it happen very quickly. So instead of 7, let's make it be 3. And then let's try to get rid of these things. Let's give them heal and something else that doesn't have something on the enemy. Why is it so hard to come up with stealth? No, stealth is probably gonna break stuff. Empowered spellcasting. Yeah, there. That one's not even visible. Because all I want to do is make sure that this ability looks good. And I think we're probably there. Yeah, let's see. So every 3 seconds they'll use this. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So what about speed? Oh, wait, no, they're not timed anymore. Oh, what's the problem with that? We set the animation, then we instantiate this and add it immediately. Why does that take long then? Oh, because the very first frame needs to be faster? The frame duration of this no, wait, that doesn't make any sense. Hold on a second. Why Why isn't that time? The character puts their little mushroom arms in the ground. What is going on? Okay, something weird's happening. I didn't expect this to be a problem. Mute and go to this. Okay, so start of the battle. Here it is. Come on. Oh, man. Okay, here it is. So now we see them use their attack. I'm going frame by frame, and this is just very tedious. I'm going frame by frame for 3 whole seconds. All right, that should have been like 2.5, so it should happen pretty soon. Yeah, there it goes. So they raise up their hands, and then they push them into the ground. No, wait. Oh, the thing already starts happening. It's actually technically correct, I guess. But we could delay this a bit. Yeah, we should delay it a bit. Okay, that's fine. But then they play the animation again for some reason. Yeah, why do they play it a second time? I don't know why that happens. Set animation. Loop is set to false by default, so it's not going to loop. On finish is going to set it back to the default called play. I don't get what's wrong with that. Wow. Okay, let's put a breakpoint there. Streaming debug technique? Yeah, I like doing that. Hey, sounds bad. So after 3 seconds, it should get called. And then I hit play, and it should get called again after 3 more seconds. Yeah, it does. So then something's going wrong with it finishing this animation. So let's wait for this battle to end and then check it out again. Because it's definitely playing twice. This is probably happening for every adventure, and I'm only just noticing it now. Which is really a problem. All right, so what are we doing here? We set the animation to their ability 1. Sounds good. So now play that animation. Loop should be false. So we remove the animation handler, which should be null. It is, so that should do nothing. Then our on finish just gets added to this, sprite.animation finished. So let's see when that gets hit, which should be pretty soon thereafter. Yes, it does. So now we set it back to their default animation. Oh, you know, we don't have a sprite.stop here. That probably doesn't matter though. And then remove the animation finished listener. So let's go take a look at that. Now it is not null, so we subtract this and then yeah, set it to null. Okay, that's all fine. So then what's happening? We're somehow playing the wrong animation. Yeah, it plays it again immediately after it. Huh. Okay, let's try something else here. Let's have this take 10 seconds. I don't see just by looking at the code what's wrong here. Let's have it take 10 seconds, and then let's make the adventure invincible. Invincible, create instance. So we have to count to 10. And then they'll use their animation, but they'll probably use it twice. Oh no, they used it once just randomly in the middle. Oh my god, I know what's happening. Oh no, I'm an idiot. Okay, I gave them the heal ability. Oh man, that's dumb. They're probably healing themselves for 0 life. Yeah, I was just not noticing that. Yeah, this shouldn't be heal. There should be some other thing that doesn't matter. Steady shooting or something. Yeah, my bad. Okay. This isn't a bug with all the adventurers. I just forgot that I did that. Well, setting it to 10 made it obvious at least. Like I said, I didn't see a problem in the code because it was a problem with the data. I just gave them an ability they shouldn't have. So now we should only see that animation happen once every 3 seconds, and we still need to fix the timing. Yeah. So they start the animation, and then this shouldn't happen for a little bit. What should actually happen is that we should delay even the animation. Like using the ability sets the animation, and then this stuff shouldn't happen until some amount of time has passed. But I don't know how long it would take for it to look good. I guess we could just do it by feel. So isn't there some sort of like wait or delay that we added in? A wait task dot delay. No, we have this built in somewhere else, don't we? Spawn item with delay. Huh. I thought we made something for this. Live functions animation helper. Do we not have some like wait for time kind of thing? The way it would be coded is using delay, so I don't even know why just searching delay should find it. Maybe I'm misremembering this. Maybe it was something else. I just thought we had done this. I guess we could search for this implementation of it. Await to signal. Update bounds after frames. Huh, weird. I don't see anything. Well, I guess we're doing this anyway. What's it looking for? I thought we made a delay function that I could just use from anywhere. Okay, so set the animation, and then here, when we're like part of the way through, we're going to create a timer for 0.15 seconds. Await to signal. To signal doesn't exist. What? Is this on the entity? The name get tree doesn't exist. I guess it is on the entity. Await can only be used with an async. Consider modifying this, changing this return thing to task. I thought. All right. Well, we're gonna have a problem with that then, huh? Yeah, we're gonna have a problem with this. Fine. I'll say play attack animation entity battle, and we'll put all this stuff down there. I don't think I like this. Private async task play attack animation. Okay, target. We got to pass in the target too. There. And then this comes from system. Because this call is not awaited. Yeah, I don't want to await that. Okay, let's try that out. So we're just delaying by some arbitrary amount, 0.15 seconds. I could figure out what it is, but we're just seeing, does it look good? And if it looks good, then great. Also, I think this is set to wait for, no, I changed that. Let's create the instance and start this up. I don't think that's long enough, but man, this is what I was saying. It's gonna be really hard to figure out what it should be. So there's an ability one animation. Let's just see when this is set up. What's its frame rate set to? Set animation speed, animation FPS is 5. And how many frames are there? So 1, 2 before it gets to there. So 5 frames per second means that it takes a 1/12 of a second. So 2/12 of a second. Which is pretty close to what I did. Why doesn't that work then? Maybe it's because it should be 50% more than what I did because of the first frame. Well, let's set this at 0.25 then. Hey, Goldskin. I'm enjoying one of the game demos. You know, people kind of joked on that stream, oh, Adam doesn't like games. I thought about it more and more, and I realized there's more to that than I thought there was originally. And then I look back at some of the games I have played. Like I somewhat recently, played the Final Fantasy VII Remake Episode 2, whatever it's called, Rebirth or something. And I played that for about 10 hours, which granted is longer than I played any of the demos for. But even then, I'm just like, I don't want to play this game anymore. I don't know what it was. I was having an okay amount of fun. And then I thought back to all these other games that I played for like a bit. Like Super Mario Wonder. Is that even what that's called? Yeah, Super Mario Bros. Wonder. But yeah, Super Mario Wonder, I played for maybe like 2 levels or something. And then never went back to it. Pikmin 4 I never beat, although I was having fun playing that. Yeah, I just thought, man, I don't know what happened or what changed. So I want to analyze that more and then potentially do like a video essay on it. Because I wonder if other people feel the same way. That you used to enjoy games and you don't enjoy them as much anymore. And I put some amount of thought in this. Okay, this is looking better. But it's still off by a bit. Let me just set this to 0.4 and see what happens. And we should probably make this... Well, I guess that's fine. Getting old. I don't think age itself is what has to do with it. I think it's that I've experienced a lot of games, so less novelty out there. I have less patience in general for this stuff. I don't feel like I need new games. What else? I don't know, like games are a dime a dozen now. Because yeah, I think this is another thing. Like back in the console days, so picture SNES, N64, GameCube. Each game's lifetime kind of had to last for a little longer because there just weren't that many games. They were somewhat expensive. And now I feel like there are mainstay games that people play for like more than 10 years. So for some people it's WoW, for some people it's like CS:GO, for some people it's probably League of Legends. There are a ton of these games now. And it's like you can count on there being a player base, you can count on there being more content for those games. Sometimes you find a game that puts you in a flow state. Yeah, yeah, and that still happens to me. It just doesn't seem to happen as often. I'm gonna write that one part down. I'm not looking for new games. I think I should put that in the video if I end up making one. I'm not looking for new games. People have mainstay games that last for more than 10 years. Yeah, just want to remember this. That's all. Hey, Wubermeister. At some point, this thought entered my brain for games is literally programmed for me to beat. Not even for me, 30 plus years old. This is programmed to be beaten by 10 years old. And I lost most interest. I don't see that as a problem, I guess. I think this is going to sound weird, but games became gamified. Like the making of games became gamified, or even sort of the playing of them to some extent. Like I think at one point in time, you could say like games were just meant to be fun. And now I think games are somewhat of a marketing vehicle for other expenditures you can make in a game or possibly other games in general. And that's not entirely true. I think anything with microtransactions, this is kind of true. It's like get you to experience friction so that you feel like you want to spend money so that you can get back to having fun. So it's like, okay, there they have to put in an artificial barrier to you having fun. I don't know. Yeah, I've got to think about this some more. Which are not that interesting. FF7 is one of them. Well, I loved the first episode of Final Fantasy VII Remake. I thought that was one of like the greatest games of all time. So when the second one came out, I'm like, oh, good. It's a game I already know that I like. And yeah, I don't know what happened. Yeah, something like the Battle Pass. I think that's the gamification of playing games. It's like, how do we keep you hooked on something? Anything with a login bonus. Okay, this looks like it's lining up a lot better now. Yeah, it does. Okay, so now if I quit this, now we have to go look at it on YouTube because that's where we're going to see this frame by frame. So here we go. Okay, so check it out. Mushroom just raised their hands a little bit. Now we go forward a few frames. They raise it even higher. Then they lower it. Okay, so wait, before they've lowered it, we're already showing the animation over here. But it's only like 2 frames early. So we need to delay by like the tiniest amount, but players wouldn't even notice that. Yeah, then the spore thing shows up, and then we do damage. So yeah, that looks pretty good. So let's delay it by just a little, just a hair more, 0.41 seconds. I'm not even going to test that. We're going to say that's good. This delays the attack animation so that it looks like it's timed with the mushroom putting their hands in the ground. Do you have to look at the other end when the hands come out of the ground? What do you mean to loose and high? You mean like this frame? Because I think that looked good except for it was like 2 frames off. Because that's the only thing I wanted to change. But you're probably asking something that I'm just not grasping. Like what I'm picturing at least, and maybe this is clarifies something or maybe not, is like the mushroom is actually putting their hands through the ground, maybe. So imagine some subterranean thing happening here where it's like tunneling over to where the bat is. That doesn't really make sense. After the attack is over, the hands come back up. Oh. I think I see what you're saying. Like the hand should stay down for as long as the spores are over here. And no, I don't think that's necessary. Yeah. So actually, I amend what I said. Instead of it being like their arms are going all the way underground, they're like doing something to the ground that's making spores come out. So all they need to do is touch the ground. Okay, how do we want to do the rest of this then? So this is pretty much coded. Is there anything else we need to do here? Yeah, just get a sound. All right, let's look it up. Let's get a sound. Ugh, I don't like doing this. All right, so what if we just search for spore? Okay, I didn't expect that. Plant, vine, grass. Oh, wait, grass showed something, right? Yeah, but that's steppe grass. I probably want some sort of like earth attack. I know earth will show up with a bunch of stuff. All right, let's listen to some of these. Some of these might be loud, so just be careful, but let's see. None of those are really fitting. I don't like any of these. Okay, well, those won't work. Hey, Grace, it's going well. We're working on new content finally. You haven't liked a game just because you were in the right mood for it? I watched a video about that. How replaying the same game or trying the sequel doesn't always feel the same. Yeah, and also the sequel, for it to resemble the original game, means it can't have everything be new. And yet, if what you liked about the original was the novelty, then that means that you're going to have reduced enjoyment from the second or the third or the whatever entry in the series. All right, so Earth is not necessarily going to work. I guess let's find... let's just go back. Well, let's see what else we have here. RPG Battle Magic. Anything in this that might sound good? What are these? That one's not bad. Yeah, I like that one. Yeah, I like that. Okay, let's use that. 50 poison oh 05. Are we using that? No, we're not. Good. Cool, cool, cool. Let's put that in the battle. All right, so audio, sounds, battle, taste. Sound ID. This one's going to be Spore Cloud. Yeah, have to beat the original Far Cry like 4 or 5 times, and then probably over 10 years later try playing it, and it just wasn't fun at all. Well, I wonder how much of that is just because game design changed in 10 years. Like, there are very few games I think I would still enjoy from more than 15 years ago. And even, you know what I thought about is like, okay, so Final Fantasy 11, it's hard to say I even really enjoyed that when I was playing it. I think I was just addicted to it. But game design changed a lot, and also it's an MMO. And back when I played, at least, it was an MMO that was supposed to absorb like all of your time, whereas now I think they've made it more casual. Like, would I enjoy even going back to this to experience it? I don't think so. But even when I think about games that were just that, like, the experience hasn't changed, like they're single player games. So Secret of Mana, I loved Secret of Mana when it first came out. I thought, like, this is one of the coolest games I've ever played. It's an action RPG on the Super Nintendo. You had experience points, you leveled up your magic, you had different characters. It was actually, I guess, technically multiplayer, but only on the same console. And I do not think that game aged well. And I just, I don't think I could enjoy that game ever again. I don't know what it is. There are parts that aged well. I still think the music is good. I think the graphics are really good for the time. I think Secret of Mana knocked that out of the park. But yeah, the gameplay is just like boring. Or it's just very samey, I guess, throughout the whole game. Hey, Tiny. Love watching your stream. Very calm developer. And above all, I love seeing you take a lot of notes. Something I still can't do, but I envy you for that. You can always start, but I'm glad you enjoy the stream. Used to own one as a kid, good old days. Yeah, I think some Super Nintendo games have aged pretty well. I think Super Mario RPG is still good, although they also made a remake of that. And I think A Link to the Past is one of my favorite games. I think that's still good. Trying to think what other games I would still enjoy today. Like I played a lot of Super Mario Kart. Would I still enjoy that version of the game? Like, probably not. I wonder if a similar analogy in filmmaking is using practical effects versus CGI, because CGI generally didn't age very well. And you think of a movie like The Matrix that did a lot of things practically and had just crazy rigs for that stuff, and it still looks pretty good. And then you look at like the very first Star Wars and it looks pretty bad. Turns out top of the line special effects from way back then did not age well. Who would have thought? Nope. I just want this part of it. Okay, so we've imported this. This is going to be way too loud as it is, though. We gotta tone this down by a lot, like volume 0.5 maybe, and that might even be too loud. So let's throw them into a battle with maybe like the Archer and just listen for the sound effects. Don't think I'll ever not want to blast through a Warcraft 2 campaign every now and then. Yeah, nostalgia is a powerful factor. Like, I still have fun playing World of Warcraft Classic, and that game is 20 years old. Now, I think my fun has diminished every time I've played just because there's not that much new stuff to do. So when they released Season of Discovery, I'm like, oh, new stuff. I got to play this again. And I had a lot of fun. Ocarina of Time is a good example. Yeah, Ocarina of Time. I just think like the music has aged well and kind of nothing else. I think the story was still pretty good, if basic, but like the ambiance, the tone setting, all that was pretty good. Can only listen to, read, or watch the same story. Well, something I've said on the stream a bunch is every piece of media has a lifespan, and either language will have changed, culture will have changed, I guess just sort of expectations, or the media itself will degrade in some way. Maybe I should just say like technology gets better. The media isn't really degrading, I guess. Hey, Stellar. If you want to develop 3D games, would you still recommend Godot? I haven't used Godot for 3D, but if I were to develop a 3D game, I'd probably start with Godot and see how that looks, and then maybe move to Unreal. All right, so we're listening for sound effects, so let's also turn on the music. And then let's start a battle. And we're just going to listen for these. I realized I never added the sound effect to the game. Oh, man. I realized it halfway through, but I wanted to just wait around and have blind hope. Well, let's try that again. But this time, we'll actually listen to the sound effect. Still a little too loud, I think. But it sounds good. And if it's loud, it's a touch too loud. We'll set it to 0.4. Let's listen again. Sounds awesome. Yeah, I like the sound. I think the sound effect is fitting. Or like fitting enough. It needs like a tiny bit more of a, maybe like a hiss or something. So let's put them into a battle with some other adventurers. We're going to turn on invincibility. And we're going to send this and the mage into the volcano. Because this has a good amount of sounds happening in it. So let's listen for that. Good. I think the tiniest bit quieter. Let's just do that. Is that Colony Sim? This game? This is Skeleseller, which is in Next Fest right now, actually. It's a town management game. You hire adventurers, send them in a battle. They earn items, which you can then sell in your shops. So this customer will probably go buy one of these things. Yeah. 0.33333. I don't think you put enough threes in your message. I don't think I can do that. All right, let's turn off the sound now that that's good. And then delete this from the to-do list. And then check in just this, I guess. So we added the mushroom character with one ability. And I guess these things can be deleted. I haven't balanced them. We need to balance them. I haven't added these things in. That's fine. Or these things. That's also fine, I guess. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Wait. Yeah. 4 hired contains. Oh, this is going to need to get deleted. So just don't check in town, but check in everything else. Hey, Becca. Okay, am I missing a UID thing? Yes, I am. Godot just crashed. Okay. Is it going to load back up? Always hard to tell. Doesn't look like it, though. I think editing normally should be fine. In fact, I'm not even totally sure why it asked if I'd modified that scene. I don't think I did it through text. So close all tabs, and I think we should just be able to run this. Done. Whoops. So that should create, yep, there it is. That created the new file. And I think that's the only one that's needed. Yeah, that's the only one that's needed. So add Mushy. Mushy the mushroom joins the fray. I've only added one ability for it so far. It should be slightly quicker to iterate on the other abilities until we get to something that's brand new. So we've added one. Now we need to add the next one. Fungal spread. Overkill damage dealt to an enemy is transferred to another enemy. Okay, before we do that, I said overkill can chain to other enemies. Let me think about this. So if you don't invest in the improved skill, what's happening is we're taking any overkill. So let's say you would do 100 damage to a 30 life bat. We'll apply the other 70 to another bat, but then stop. It won't chain any further. See, the thing is, at some point, you don't want this to chain further. Like, if you're doing 100 damage to, like, 90 life creatures or monsters, it's like, this only needs a chain once. There's no problem. Now, you almost certainly won't just have the mushroom in the party. So it's possible that even if they were 90 life to begin with, that now you've got, like, 8, 10 life bats at the end of this, and you just kill the entire wave of them all at once. But then, how is this... How is this interesting? For you to get a point into this? And why did I say this would have a max level of 2? Maybe it should be different at a base level. Finding the enemy with the highest life would actually be worse than finding the enemy with the lowest life if it can chain. Maybe it adds damage as it kills an enemy. That could be kind of interesting. Like, you do 100 damage to something with 30 life, and it applies fungal spore again to another enemy. And it just keeps doing that every time you kill an enemy. This is risky. This is risky because you could potentially win battles like instantaneously. It's not necessarily a problem because we have a minimum repeat time of 3 seconds. Oh, wait. We didn't even code this correctly, right? You're supposed to deal damage to yourself when you do this. Oh, whoops. I forgot about that. Mashi should be dealing damage to itself with Spore Cloud. Although that doesn't really make any sense now. But whatever. Use Cordia Dvorak? Neither. Keep guessing. I use Colmac DH. Yeah, do I care about the risk here? Also, should this do damage to... Like, I kind of like the idea of phrasing it like this. We're not calling it overkill. We're calling it fungal spread. But something like fungal spread. Upon killing an enemy, use Spore Cloud again on another enemy with X% power. And X% could be, or X could be like 50. So then improved fungal spread could say increase X. So it's like 50%, 100%, 150%. That's bad. Well, yeah, that's bad. Maybe like 25% to 60% to 105%. Yeah. Something like that. Okay. And this isn't upon killing an enemy. This is when Spore Cloud kills an enemy. Spore Cloud kills an enemy. Use it again on another enemy. All right. I think I like that. Yeah, I think I like that. And then this will say increase X% power of fungal spread. and we said something like this to this to this. I don't know why I picked these numbers. Could just be, this should have been 65% the whole time. Yeah, that's probably good. Okay, let's go code that. Ability ID, fungal spread. Put that over here. All right, so this is just a passive that can be modified, so it is similar to execute. This is passive ability granting buff. Yeah, I guess it's a buff. Oh, it doesn't need to grant a buff. In fact, actually, why does this even work that way? Because the rogue can do other attacks? Why don't we just code this in the Spore Cloud? It should be coded in the Spore Cloud. Yeah. Did Google do an employee stock purchase program? I don't think so. And yeah, it's generally a pretty good perk. It's just free money. Microsoft did. So yeah, I don't think this needs to grant a buff. In fact, I'm not even totally sure. I guess this is whenever you deal damage. But the rogue doesn't have another way of dealing damage. It would actually be kind of cool if there was an ability that granted other people abilities, like a mage that let everyone shoot fireballs. That'd be kind of neat. But yeah, that's not a thing. So I guess let's not worry about that. So then this is just going to be a passive. So what's another passive that's just a passive? Do we even have those in the game? Let me just look at all the characters until I find one. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, this broke. Oh, because we don't have the ability. Oh God, I know we don't have the ability. I want it to work anyway. All right, fine. We'll set this back to heal for a second. That's just so that this builds so that I can look at the skills. Oh, come on, it didn't build? Because I have the ID still. Yeah. All right, I'm trying to cut corners here. I could have just loaded the saved version of the game, the exported version. Okay, so let's look at all the adventurers. Let's grant everything. Oh, we need icons. We got to modify our request for this stuff. Clean up. Modify art requests. Okay, so who has a passive? Holy Link? There's an improved Holy Link, right? No, but Holy Link has to be a buff. This is when you take damage. Yeah, man. Holy Light has to be a buff. Okay, so those don't work. Poisonous Skin. Poisonous Skin is technically just a passive ability. All right, and this is how we're coding it. So let's save this as fungal spread. Fungal spread. Where's the ID? Here it is. Fungal spread. We're going to set the ID to none for that. Display name hasn't been localized. We should probably localize that. Yeah, we should probably localize that. Let's go get Spore Cloud. Spore Cloud. So paste this into here. Get the imports that we need. Then this is going to be, oh, nice. It already knew, but I just deleted it. There. This is going to be messages. Get display name. Cool. So now we put that back to how it was and that back to how it was. All right, so how's this working? We need to know what the amounts are, the power multiplier. So power multiplier is going to be 25%, 65%, and then 105%. We don't have this stuff. That's all fine. This isn't needed. This isn't needed. This is needed, but it has to have this, which isn't going to look like that. Doesn't this need to have a table? Yeah, this doesn't need to have a table. Okay, so let's go find something with a table for one value. What would have that? Oh, no, it doesn't. What am I talking about? We just need the level of, I guess let's just take it from execute. Yeah, here it is. And then, yeah, I'll just copy paste the whole thing. All right, so the level we need is of improved fungal spread, which you can't possibly have yet. So this will be improved fungal spread. And we're going to hard code this to 1. Or no, 0, because you can't have it. And then put it to do here. Uncomment this once making improved fungal spread. Then we get the power multiplier of the right level. And then just change the tooltip to say whatever it's supposed to say. Improves no, what am I talking about? This isn't even improved. This is this thing. When Spore Cloud kills an enemy, blah blah blah. Yeah. When Spore Cloud display name string Spore Cloud display name equals Spore Cloud dot messages dot. That's not how this works. There's a get display name somehow. I don't remember where that is. All right, fine. Improved execute. It's not called improved execute. It's called fatal strikes. Got it. That's what I want. Which is not even probably the right way to do this. So when Spore Cloud kills an enemy, use it again on another enemy with X% power. And X% is going to be this. Oh, but that's got to be the description. Ooh, drat. Okay. All right, so then we got to clean this up. So this is going to be messages get description, Spore Cloud display name, colon, Spore Cloud display name. And then the power multiplier. It's got to be a formatted thing. Yeah, what am I doing? It's got to be that. And then this is just going to say power multiplier. Okay. I think we did it. Missing partial, sure. This should have an F. And there we have it. What am I creating? I'm making a game called Skeleseller. Is that not a command, seriously? Or did my bot crash? Oh my god, it's not a command? Okay, well, alias that the game, I guess. Yeah. Anyway, there's the link to the Steam page. That's got the explanation of everything and the trailer, and you can play it if you want to. We are making a new character for the game. Oh, I removed game, which probably removed Skeleseller. Okay, yeah. What does it say now in the command? I didn't actually read it. Yeah. There's a Skeleseller FAQ? Oh, interesting. It's just a redirect to the Google document. Okay, so we now have this fungal spread thing in, but it doesn't do anything. So we haven't made it functional. Make fungal spread functional. Let's make sure the tooltip looks good at least. Yeah. When Spore Cloud kills an enemy, use it again on another enemy with 25% power. Maybe power is not the right thing to say there. Maybe it's damage multiplier. Yeah, that's probably clearer. Hit to mask. All right, so let's put this as damage. Let's put this as damage. How much game developer get paid? How girl get pregnant? They need to do Wayne Mother. Game developers are paid a wide variety of salaries depending on the country, depending on the size of the developer, or if you have a publisher or something, funding. Generally, I think it's sort of less than you might expect in other parts of software engineering. But yeah, like I said, it depends on your country too. And I'm gonna assume you don't live in the US. Just a wild hunch. So did I say damage here? I did not. Use it again on another enemy with this much damage. With 25% damage? At 25% damage? Regular damage, yeah. 8,000 reals per month. Well, then there's your answer. Yeah. Yeah. In the US, that would be considered a bad salary. Actually, it'd probably be considered less than minimum wage. But yeah, I mean, depends on what your situation is. I feel like game dev is way harder than web dev, yet companies play the dream job card as justification to pay you less. Yeah, I think there's no shortage of people wanting to do game dev. And I think the game industry is not in a great state right now. And yet at the same time, if you look at how many games are released on Steam every year, it's like 10,000 or something. So lots of games are getting made. Doesn't mean lots of people are playing games. Or sorry, not playing all of the games. They're obviously playing games a lot. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry. Okay, so let's go code this. We need spore cloud to potentially cause this to happen again. So we're basically just going to call use again if it kills an enemy. So here is deal damage. We need to know if this killed the target. If target dot or health component dot is dead target. We need to know if they were dead to begin with, though. Bool was dead equals that. So if they weren't dead and they now are dead, then it must have been caused by this ability. So then we want to potentially use this thing again. So now to do use the ability again with less damage. So use does not have a damage modifier in it. So we're going to need a private... Whoa, what just happened? Private void use ability. And it's going to do pretty much the exact same things that we did originally. Node entity, battle system, battle, and then a power multiplier here. Damage multiplier. Oh, that means we need to store this in the projectile probably. Which game would you like to be part of the dev team? I don't think I'd want to be part of another games dev team at this point. I like making games. I like controlling the creative part of the process. And the only real way to do that is to either be so high up on someone else's project that they just trust you to handle all of that, or to just make your own game. So Skeleseller started as essentially a Final Fantasy 1 clone that was supposed to be automated. And just that wasn't fun. So it changed into this. But yeah, who would have even let me work on that? Like, what game out there looks like that, I guess. Okay, so this is where we're going to do all of this stuff. So this is going to be usability with this. Then this all goes down here. And then we need to store how much damage the actual spore cloud will do. And the only thing that even knows this is going to be in play attack animation. don't have a way of doing that unless we make a special. It's just ability animation. We'd have to make something that inherits from this that then keeps track of this stuff. I guess Zombie Bite does. Why though? Wait, what? I'm confused. No. It doesn't inherit from that. Does anything inherit from this? No. Yeah, nothing. But we could make something that inherits from this that then keeps track of what the damage is that this is supposed to do. But we never fetch this again, do we? We add this to the target and we initialize it with on animation ready to deal damage. Oh no, we could just store this here then. Okay, never mind. This is not that hard. All right, so let's take in the damage multiplier and put this here. And then just pass this right along to that, which then it's going to be taken in here. And the damage that we deal is going to be multiplied by this. Yeah. Smurf with the gifted subs. Thank you. And again, I see some familiar names in there as targets. So I'm glad the recipients are actually hopefully people who watch the stream. That's very kind of you, Smurf. Thank you. Are they partial because of localization? Yeah, because we added some auto-generated code. How nice. You and Motoboat, most recent sub-gifters. Okay, so now we need to use the ability again in this case. So we use it with the damage that we get from here, which is going to just be damage multiplier and then the level of this, which again doesn't exist. Float damage multiplier is equal to that. Fungal spread damage multipliers there. Okay, this should be in. Oh no, that's not a thing. Why is this not accessible? Fungal spread damage multipliers. Why is it complaining about that? Is it in a different namespace? Oh, it is. I appreciate it, Smurf. All right, now the issue is that this doesn't exist. So we, again, need to just set this to 0. And then say uncomment this. Damage multiplier is used there, and a local already exists with that. So we put the next damage multiplier here. Okay. Let's try this out. How do we make sure that this works? We could raise the damage so much that they're going to kill something. Yeah, let's try that. So we'll make a level 20 mushy go fight in the volcano. And they should kill both bats, I think. So we do that. And then we do this and this. Okay, let's see it. So after 7 seconds, they should just slaughter everything, I guess. I don't actually know if that's going to happen. Oh, neat. Okay, yeah, they don't slaughter everything because the damage multiplier is 25%. So the second one doesn't actually die. So if we just up that, yeah, let's go to Spore Cloud and let's make it do infinite damage. There. Okay, so now they should kill each of the bats and it should just keep chaining. All right, let's see it. Neat. Yeah, that's pretty cool. All right, so that's the ability, and you'll be able to level that up to make it do more damage. Yeah, cool. Hey, Brendan. Infinity is roughly equal to this. Yes, that is correct. All right, so have we fully coded that ability? It shouldn't have been too much more than that, right? Yeah. When it kills an enemy, use it again on another enemy. Yeah, I think it's fine. Okay, so let's go check that in. Oh, I didn't look at the animations too closely. Also the sound effects. Let's turn on the sound. It's pretty cool. Nice. I like it. Should each chain apply the multiplier? No, I want it to be based on the base value. In fact, maybe we should make that clear in the ability. Because the way I looked at it is, like, let's say you have the typical, like, 90 life bats. You got 3 of them. And let's say the Spore Cloud does 100 damage. So the first one does 100. The second one does 25. If we made it so the third one does a quarter of that, which is, what, 6.25? It's probably not going to kill anything, and the chain will almost always stop with just like one kill. Although maybe that's why you'd want to level it up, I guess. Okay. I could see that being a thing. I don't know. I don't know what I want to do then. Yeah. So the way it's coded, at least, is the first one is going to be 100, and then all others will be 25, and then 65, and then 105. But yeah, we could change that. I I I don't think it matters. I think. Well, wait. Maybe it matters for when you go back to a very early battle. But does that matter? Character dies. What happens if you put this with just like the warrior? They end up killing everything. I don't know. Yeah, let's see. Let's see what happens. When Spore Cloud kills an enemy, use it again on another enemy for this much of the regular damage. How about we just put in parentheses what amount of damage that is? Do I want to do that? I think I do. Yeah, I think I do. All right, let's go figure out how to do that then. We need to get damage. Here it is, base damage. All right, so this is going to be damage. And then we need to figure out how much that is. Damage equals Spore Cloud get base power of the entity times the damage multiplier. That should work. Oh, right. There's one other thing I wanted to write here, which is like fungal spread can trigger. This effect can occur. I pretty much want to say this effect can recur, but that's not what's going to be understandable by players. When Spore Cloud kills an enemy, use it again on another enemy. This effect can keep triggering itself. Something like that. Let's look at it in the game and see if it's clear. When Spore Cloud kills an enemy, use it again on another enemy for 25% of the regular damage. 9. Because this says it does 38. Yeah. This effect can keep triggering itself. Yeah, that's pretty clear. Using assets from other Next Fest games. Is there another game with Adam art in it? All right, this is looking good. So none of this is needed here. Hey, Melmsy. Hey, thanks for the review on the Skeleseller demo. I think that probably helps. All right, so we're gonna check on all of these. So add fungal spread. Yeah, I think that's it, right? I looked through this once already. I don't think there's any reason to believe that this isn't working correctly. Yeah, it's looking fine. Yeah, that's good wording. All right, so fungal spread is now functional. Now, instead of doing the next one of these, we should probably work on improved fungal spread, which is going to be very easy to do. This should be probably the fastest ability of all the ones I've done so far. So let's go get improved fungal spread and then go make that ability. Improved. This doesn't even need to be here. Yeah. How are you feeling near the end of Next Fest? Any good data pulled from potential players? Excuse me. I wasn't feeling very good. And that was for two things. One, my expectations were set too high, and two, I'd been overworking. So I think I have addressed both of those things now. Any good data pulled from potential players, though? Unfortunately, one of the parts of setting my expectations too high, I expected more people to make videos on the game. There were, I think, 3 people streamed the game, and no one made YouTube videos, which is like, it's just very few, right? Like a lot of people went through a ton of different demos, but they just didn't play Skeleseller. Alternatively, and I mentioned this before, but if you go on Twitch and search for games and demos, oh man, I've done such a good job at never playing other people's content. I did not have Twitch muted somehow. Yeah, if you go look through games and demos, people are playing these demos, but like, look at this. I don't know what game this is, and their title probably doesn't say. Yeah, their title doesn't say, and the category is at the games and demos. So it's possible someone's playing Skeleseller right now, and unless I scroll through all of these, like, I wouldn't see it. And then they don't tend to upload these on YouTube and tag it with Skeleseller or anything. You reach out to creators explicitly. I see game devs talking about that on Reddit a lot. Not yet. No, I'm going to do that after Next Fest at this point. I think I'm going to start on Monday. I reached out to like one person, but that wasn't very impactful. But yeah, if we search for Skeleseller, so Boomer Tester and Inhuman Baron did upload their videos from Twitch, but like that was it. Yeah, the stats haven't been great. I think in terms of wish lists, let me take a look. Remember, wish lists only update once per day. So we're currently at 2,125 wish lists. So it's not bad. It's not great. And we started at, I think, 1847. And then in terms of people right now who are playing the game, there are 6 people playing. That's not too bad. Also, for whatever reason, the median time fluctuated slightly. It went from 1 hour and 24 minutes to 1 hour and 23 minutes. And then back to 1 hour and 24 minutes. So in my mind, what this means is that enough people are still playing for pretty much the same median time. But like, how is there not more in terms of videos or reviews or something? How many games entered? Probably about 5,000. That's my guess. I don't know for sure, but that's probably not too far. In fact, actually, does Steam Next Fest, does it tell you? It says 2,600 matches, but that does not include the hidden games. I don't know how many. I don't know how you even find that out. I need to like allow the not safe for work stuff. Out of curiosity, if I just look at this, it says 4 hidden, 2 hidden, 8, 1, 1, 3. Okay, these are very small numbers. So the number of hidden games in total might not actually be as much. Anyway, it's a small number of thousands of games. 3,000, 4,000, something like that. Surprised how hard it was to find your game when I used my wife's Steam account. I'm surprised specifically because starting next with 1,800 feels like it would help. I think they base it on the performance in the first 2 days, and they probably base it on like how many wish lists were achieved in that time alone, how many people played, how many people converted from the store page. And this is the big question mark. I have no idea what this number is. So like, or not even from the store page, from the festival page. So how many times was Skeleseller shown and 4 other games and people just skipped past the whole page? Because that might have happened a lot, in which case it was either the trailer or the capsule art that probably stopped them. So let's go back to here. And I'm not going to actually find the game, but imagine that's Skeleseller right there. So these 5 games are showing up and they're like, oh, Skeleseller, what's that? And they look at this and they see like 3 seconds of this and they're like, nah, not for me. And then they just move on to the next page. I don't have those stats. At least I don't think so. But that's potentially what's stopping more people from playing the game. Like maybe the trailer needs to be better. And yeah, if you do look through this, so I'm not logged in right now. If I go to management games, we're on page 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 35. All right, there it is. It was on like page 42 or something. So people probably aren't going to go that far to try to find the game. And I don't think the micro trailer is bad that shows up here, but I guess it's not as enticing as it could be. I wonder where we show up in Mac games. Is it higher up on there by any chance? How do we even find that? By feature, Mac. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Wait. No, yeah. 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so like page 27, I think, on here. So it's not showing up a lot. They not show views or impressions. They do, but they didn't update at least for the first couple days. I don't have it open anymore. But I don't know. I can maybe go find it. Let's see. Here. So this is considered confidential. So I can't show this on stream. But the number of impressions, it says 2367 impressions over the last week. At the beginning of Next Fest, this showed, I think, 1,000. So like I don't think this is right. Yeah, I don't think this is right. I think this will probably get updated at some point though. What do we have here? What's today's date? The 13th. Show impressions graph. Here it is. So let's see. Next Fest started on the 9th. And it says we got 489 impressions that day. So the reason I don't believe this, I think this is just for people who came to the... No, that doesn't make any sense. Yeah, I don't know how to interpret this. Okay, well, anyway, it doesn't matter. Probably need some love. So the micro trailer, you can't modify. It's auto-generated, but it's based on the main trailer. So it just pulls a 6-second snippet from it, basically, of like 1.5 seconds here, 1.5 seconds here, or something like that. So if you don't like the micro trailer, you have to make a different main trailer and hope it generates a better one for you. There's literally nothing else you can do about that. This feels less like an Adam did something wrong, more of an algorithm game that people are playing. It could be, yeah. And it does seem like a small number of impressions. Curious if someone's written about how this works. Yeah. Yeah, so anyway, my main conclusions, and I think this is the important part, is it's still worth working on Skeleseller. We're going to work toward launch now. Next Fest was just one marketing tool, and I need to reach out to lots of influencers. So starting on Monday, I will have a goal of 2 influencers per day for a week, then adjust as needed. So probably my plan is probably at that point like up it to like 20 per week for a month. So instead of 14 per week, go up to like 20 per week, or maybe 30 per week or something. Show your best scene in the trailer. Well, the trailer serves excuse me, sorry. It was like a weird, I had to cough and then didn't have to cough, and then it just happened all of a sudden. The trailer is gonna have a different impact on players, because the way that people generally look through trailers, according to some people's research at least, is they'll like just click through. So they'll click like, well, I guess the video would be playing. So they'll click like here, 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 here. That's how a lot of people consume trailers. They'll basically like form their own micro trailer out of it. They're probably not gonna stay for like the whole 40 seconds of the video. So I need to optimize for that. And I don't even know where the micro trailer shows other than in Next Fest. Are you going to pay influencers? So I was thinking of reaching out to small influencers and just saying like, hey, here's the game. I could give it to you for free if you end up playing it or something. Yeah. You running any ads? For example, Instagram or on a gaming forum? Relying on organic growth alone is rough. I'm not running ads yet. I had reached out to someone who was going to help with some of this, and then they just sort of disappeared. I'm still not totally sure what happened with them. But they had suggested that I don't run ads, but I'd been planning on it. And so then I just never ran the ads, and I feel like, who knows, that might have helped. Yeah, I think I was going to try with Reddit ads. I was going to spend $100 and see where that took me. So yeah, I need to do that again too. Anyway, those conclusions are the important parts, right? I'm still going to be marketing. I'm going to reach out to lots of influencers. I'm probably going to try ads. We're going to keep developing the game, and I'd like to spend, 3-ish months making this. I also have a new tenet for those who know me to be a very process-oriented person. I've had these two tenets forever. I want to make sure that what I'm doing is sustainable in terms of, can I maintain this endeavor for years? So not like eco-sustainability sort of thing is what I'm talking about. Just, can I do this without burning out? And two is, I want to always be working on what I need to be working on. And it's not always going to be fun stuff. But then I added this one, not wasting the opportunity. And it's just like, am I doing what I can to make this successful? So it's easy for me to, like, we all have highs and lows, right? And at any given point, if you consider your own hedonic treadmill, it's this kind of sine wave of you just going through life. And your low is not probably the worst low in the universe, right? There's someone out there starving to death and who's probably being tortured or something. And like, that doesn't mean your problems don't matter. They're certainly not as bad as that person's. Yeah, I felt like I was at a local low earlier this week. And I just, when I zoom out and I look at where I am on this sine wave, I think I have a wonderful, wonderful opportunity to work on this. I like game dev as a whole. I have liked working on Skeleseller as a whole. I haven't enjoyed the last like couple months because it's all been polishing a demo the whole time. So I'm happy to be working on new stuff today. And that's what we're going to be doing for the next probably few weeks. It's just kind of just getting more content out there, more adventures, more bosses, more whatever else. And then we're going to just keep working toward launching. And thankfully, we put in enough time polishing this stuff to begin with that it's not going to, like, we don't need to do that work again. We need different work. Currently, a spend 500, get 500 deal I'm about to do. Yeah, that seemed like a little bit too much spend for me for right now. So I think I was going to start with 100 and see if that was helpful. The other thing that's going to be a little bit problematic is there are only really two metrics I can focus on. It's either demo plays or wish list. I'm not actually sure how to track demo plays from Reddit ads, but given that we don't have any other organic traffic, that it's probably all coming from Reddit ads if I run them. But neither of those makes money, right? There's the eventual promise of money. Well, eventual potential promise of money. So like a wish list is worth maybe, let's say 15% of the cost of the game. Just estimating, right? How many people are going to convert, and yeah, what's the amount going to be? So if the cost is $10, that means that you're probably, a wish list is probably worth like $1.50. So that means you'd probably want to spend like 75 cents to get a wish list. But I don't know these numbers because if Skeleseller never launches, then every wish list is worth $0. Or if it launches and it does terribly or something, it's worth, 10 cents. Hey, who cares? Are you stressed a lot by Skeleseller not being financially successful in the future? So I think the short answer is yes, but probably not for the obvious reason. It's not like, oh, well, if Skeleseller fails, that's it. My dream of doing game dev is over. I think I'll probably still work on another game afterward. Okay, vulnerable moment. I've always liked making games, and I think I have some aptitude for making games, but I don't think I have the like sort of totality of the modern set of aptitudes needed to make a game monetarily successful. And to some extent, I want to prove to myself that I can do that, because there's an easy cop-out answer that you can have, which is like, I don't care about that thing. So now if you fail at that thing, you can say, like, I never cared about it, and that's why I failed. And to some extent, I truly have not cared about making money through games, and I've only really launched Botland, and that one I like ostensibly did, but not really. I think I was focusing on it as a fun endeavor. So yeah, I want to see what happens when I'm actually trying, and it's hard to say that my actions have aligned with me actually caring about this, because I think I would have done more business-oriented moves if I'd fully cared. So the way I kind of sum this up is, if you consider the spectrum of fun to business, so this is fun and this is business, that Botland was probably like here. And if you consider Skeleseller, it is probably more like this, maybe, where it's more toward the business side, but it's still pretty fun for me to work on. So I think there are some people who treat games as just a business, and it's like, well, it's work. I'm just doing it. I'm trying to make money. Even though we're a completely different genre and platform. Yeah, sure. I'd still like to know. That would be helpful, Mumsy. Hey, 20 hours later. Super relatable. Yeah, I think the relatable part's probably this for sure. How many times have you, whatever, played a game and you were like, oh, I could be competitive at this. And then you're like, well, I never really cared about being competitive. And it's a defense mechanism. So yeah, I want to see what happens when I'm actually like putting my heart into this to some extent. I think a lot of indie developers felt like total failures before they got successful. Yeah, well, and even people like, I still don't know how to pronounce his last name, if it's Barone or Barone, but whatever. This guy who made Stardew Valley, he apparently, even like 3.5 years into making Stardew Valley, thought this game is not going to do anything. It's not going to sell. It's not, no one's going to play it. And now we have the power of hindsight and know that it did incredibly well. But how many people along their journeys stopped because they thought it wasn't going to be good, when it turns out had they just pushed through it, it would have been great. And I could go on about this topic forever. Back in the Botland days, I was streaming on Twitch, and people were, I'd say, generally positive, and I think I attribute that to them being the stream audience. So now I've been trying to get better about how I ask people for feedback, and how I am even taking in that feedback, and then how I act on that feedback. All experience you're gaining is valuable. Yes. And this is why I had to change my viewpoint over the last few days. I still look at this as almost like an RPG. I have some amount of like marketing experience points, and I'm like level 2 and let's say level 99 is the max. Like by the end of this, I'll probably be level 6 or something. So yeah, I just need to put some time into that. And I think the one thing that's making it clearer, you have some iteration cycles in any piece of media, and music is much faster than a game. I've seen myself improve at music, and the way I've improved at music is by putting in the time. I still think so much of improvement is just time and practice. And I know there's more to this formula than just those two things, but I think these things are needed. And then the rest of this stuff is like everything else. ... So yeah, with game dev, I think it's the same way. Like, I'm improving. I need to keep at it. I need to keep making games. Also, just niche genre. I don't think Botland was fantastic. I think there was a lot that was lacking in that game. I'm not looking for a publisher, so I will probably not pursue that route. Okay, so yeah, we were gonna code this ability, and then I know I got super sidetracked, and I have not forgotten about this. So let's get this thing working. This is good, and this is good. And this is gonna say improves the damage dealt by fungal spread display name. This is not how that works though, right? We have some column modifiers and stuff. What's a localized class in here? So let's get copy path. Let's go over to that. And then search here for localized with -C5. Okay, so 5 wasn't enough. 10. And then do that. Radiant Retaliation. Where's the... What's going on here? Where's the table? Oh, that one doesn't count. Okay, double strike, I guess. Aha, here it is. Yeah, okay, this is what I want. One thing Botland was is impressive. What a project to take on. Yeah. That I pride myself on a few things with Botland, not everything, of course, but being able to follow that through, to see it through to completion was quite an undertaking. Would it be launched by now if you weren't streaming, or do you think you'd be less motivated? The way I always say it is when I'm streaming, I'm more on task. I know this hasn't been true in the last like 5 minutes or 10 minutes or something, but when I'm streaming, I'm more on task than when I'm not streaming, but I'm more productive when I'm on task and not streaming. Auto battles are a big genre now. Yeah, but very few of them have you scripting anything in them. Yeah. You're remastered. Oh wait, we're talking about yeah. It's not really a remaster if you're talking about Botland. It's just gonna get open source. Hey Clonk. Not to flatter, but the way you explain your thinking like this is great. Really useful to hear Frank talk about this sort of thing. Yeah, thank you. I like when other streamers talk about this stuff too. Sharing vulnerability on stream is pretty tough. And you know, a lot of social media is people advertising their high points in their life. Like, hey, I traveled here, or I just bought this thing, or here's a whatever, I moved into a new apartment or something. It's not often that people are like, hey, I felt bad about this event that I shouldn't be feeling bad about. And also it's ephemeral. It lasted a few days. It hit me pretty hard, but I think I've like mostly bounced back. So I'm feeling pretty good. This Game Fest, I found a game that's basically 80% of what I wanted to be, and it's quite popular. If I worked on that for years, would I also be successful? It's very hard to know this, and the absolute classic example of this is Infiniminer versus Minecraft. Minecraft is worth $2.5 billion, and Infiniminer is worth like next to nothing. And they were just very similar games. Would Infiniminer have ever turned into Minecraft? Probably not. Yeah. They want to make the next Minecraft, not thinking potential consequences. Well, this is like a human truth, I feel, and this is why the lottery exists. Everyone always thinks about, hey, what if I made it in whatever field or wealth or whatever it is. And maybe that doesn't, maybe they don't dwell on it, but the thought crosses everybody's mind. So if you're in game dev, yeah, it's nice to think about, what if I'm the next Terraria? What if I'm the next Minecraft? You're probably not thinking, what if I'm the next game that makes $2,000 over its lifetime? I mean, maybe that's the reality you're faced with, but probably you're hoping for more. Okay, so this was never localized. So what am I even looking for here? Ah, here we go. Spicy cooking has it. Yeah. Okay, randomly tries doing this, and the headers and display names. Okay, got it. So this is going to be private const string, or like damage header, damage bonus, I think we say. Yeah. Okay. Next up, let's get this forms skill table. So this is going to be get damage header. The multipliers come from fungal spread damage multipliers. This looks just like that. The level of the ability needs to be the level of this ability, but abilities component doesn't exist here. How did we do this for something like double strike? Like so. Wait, where did that exist? Oh, I see. We pass in the entity. Okay, so we just need to fetch this. I've heard of this sort of thing too, Hotel Soap. And the way I've heard this has been like, take out an ad for a product that only has a landing page. And if this ad does well, like let's say it converts a lot of people, then it means that, hey, that product is probably worth making. Then mobile games took this to a different level and they took out ads for products that don't exist as though they exist, or they like misrepresented their product. Not even sure how that was legal in the US. Started a 20 game challenge. Was able to get flapping to work in Godot, working on collision. Oh, nice. Awesome. Yeah. I hope you've been having fun with that. Always helps to see the other people also struggle because I don't feel like I'm the only one. Yeah. Yeah. And I was talking to Juicebox Hero about this, but she said something like my baseline for this was about herself. My baseline for my happiness is a 70 or something like that. And I asked her for more details and she said that essentially like she's lucky and has worked hard enough to be at the point in her life where even on her worst day, things really shouldn't be like worse than a 70 out of 100 just because of how much is going well for her. And I think about that too. And what's the saying? Like the trauma Olympics or something? It's some like tongue in cheek way of saying that your lows are not trivial just because they're not the lowest lows of anyone in the world. So yeah, I recognize that in all this stuff, and I'm generally a pretty upbeat person to begin with. I think every once in a while my expectations are like adjusted totally wrong. Looked up and realized 2 hours had gone by. Nice, 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 nice. Yeah, suffering Olympics. Yeah. Okay. So we are getting the level of this thing. So data.abilityID. Is that not a thing I can get? Data.id. Ah, there it is. Cool. So that is what we're going to plug into this down here. And then there is, what is this? Form skill table takes in a description. Oh, I see. So this is just a description. And then we need the display name of, I'll just say Spore Cloud for here, but it's actually not Spore Cloud. Okay, so we can delete all of this and have this be fungal spread display name. Cool. All right, then there were to-do items in the rest of that code that I got to go fix. Uncomment this. That should just work. And then the same thing with this one. And then we got to test this, of course. Yeah, thank you, Puppet. I'm hoping it's a commercial success, and I'm back on the horse. I'm willing to do what it takes to make this thing work. And I think games start as being about like fun and passion, and then it becomes hard work, and then harder work, and then harder, and then you get to the hardest work, which is launching. And somewhere around here, wait, I'm probably like more, I'm probably on this line right now, like line 8. And I'm thinking, oh, it should get easier, right? It's only gonna get easier in the next month when I'm working on fun new stuff again. But then I think we're gonna get to, okay, let's launch, and that's when things are gonna get pretty difficult. Post my current games, make prototypes, see if I can manage to build something people find difficult to put down, even at its simplest and lowest level of polish. No idea if that's a good idea. Yeah, I think you're gonna play into a lot of like, I think there are two things that kind of happen. One is you steer toward the lowest common denominator. And the next is that you go towards sort of addictive gameplay. So if you consider Balatro, lowest common denominator. It's a card game at its core, and not even a card game in the sense of Magic the Gathering. It's like a playing card game to begin with, at least. So everyone's played playing card games. So that hits the lowest common denominator. And then the addictive gameplay is like, well, they did the randomness pretty well, the polish, the juice to make it all feel like, hey, this is rewarding. And it's pretty easy to get into, pretty easy to understand. So I think it'll probably steer you more toward things like that. What I want to do is I want to come up with things that are still like somewhat unique, but I want to steer more toward traditional expectations. So as an example, I've talked about this with Skeleseller. Skeleseller is not manually controlled in the same way that other games are. So for example, sometimes I'm designing like, what's the mage going to have? And people are like, oh, it'd be cool if you had an ability that did this. And I'm like, it just doesn't make sense. Your mage is using this all the time on its own. Yeah, in a manually controlled game, having an ability that could miss or shoot to the wrong angle or sends 400 projectiles out could be fun, but it just doesn't work for Skeleseller. And it's like, we need to get over that initial hump of, hey, let's explain to you that this is not a directly controlled game. I don't want to do that again. Botland did that to the extreme. It was like, not only do you not control the game, but you have a massive level of indirection in the form of a script. So people just did not know what to expect going into that game. And Skeleseller is somewhat better, but wouldn't it be amazing if I just made like a platformer, let's say, where you press the jump key and you're like, I get it now. Oh yeah, I jump. This is obvious to me. So I have an idea for my next game I'm going to make, and it's going to be, I think, fun and cool and interesting, but probably have less marketability even. Oh, hey, Brainoid. Yeah. Yeah, it was cool to see them play. Did you get a lot of wish lists from yesterday as a result of that? Because you've been doing better than I've been doing. I've been getting like 75 wish lists per day. Hey, Appleseed. Hey, Bear Like Line. At about 160 per day. Nice, 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 nice. Yeah. Any thoughts on pushing the mobile aspect? I think if the game does well enough on desktop, I'd probably pursue mobile, but mobile monetization is nuts. Like, would your wife pay $5 for this game? Maybe. Maybe not. All right, this actually should just be working, so let's go try this out. Hope it doesn't necessarily end like that. People tend to find novelty appealing. I'd have to make something both novel and addicting. Yeah, the novel part is pretty tough too with how many games are out there. But I think it's novel in terms of what has become popular, and thinking about it more like a business in terms of like, how would I make this popular, I think is an interesting endeavor. Okay, so I messed up one thing here. I did not put this in. By the way, I'd love to get this character done today. I know I'm working very slowly, and it's not for any other reason than I'm enjoying talking to everyone in chat. So thank you all for the conversation. All right, so there's our one ability, a little smiley face in the middle of this. This ability is unlocked level 2, not anymore. Fungal Spread improves the damage dealt by Fungal Spread. Cool. All right, so now we just need to set the max level to 2. Where is the max level? Max level 2. Actually, it's going to be set to, how do we do this? We probably can't do this because they're lists. Fungal Spread damage multipliers count. Can we do this? Oh, we can. Okay. I didn't know if there was a list. It is a list. How can you... Oh, this is static, not constant. Oh, sure. Downward trend lately. Been getting 200 per day, but going down 160 per day. Oh, I don't even think I checked. Let me take a look at what mine was yesterday. I think it's been trending down as well, which I attribute partially to being in the middle of the week. So yesterday was 39 additions, 1 deletion. And I'll just share the chart. Whoops. Well, I didn't mean to do that, but yeah, that's the chart. There's nothing private for me on that page. So the best day was this one, which is the day after Next Fest started, and it peaked at 120, which is probably the most I've gotten in any single day, I think. It's kind of crazy to me to think that the games that do best are getting like way more than the peak number of wish lists I get every single day. How are you feeling about Next Fest overall, not just wishlist? Overall, I'm feeling kind of flat about it. The today command kind of talks about it a little bit more, which you already saw. I think my expectations were just set too high. But I went into this thinking, do I have a marketing problem or do I have a game problem? And I think I've concluded I have a marketing problem. It doesn't seem like people are disliking Skeleseller. Yeah, I think tonight and tomorrow there should hopefully be a rise again. The other thing, which I don't know if this is just bad timing, but if you look at just the main page of Steam right now, they used to have, okay, they don't anymore, but they used to have the Summer Games Fest here, and Next Fest was relegated to like the second page of this. So I don't know when, maybe Summer Games Fest is even still going on, but I wonder if that means that it's actually bad to be in the summer version of Next Fest because you're splitting eyes with the games that are on sale, which people know are complete and they might want to buy. Showed me a lot about my gaming issues that came up. That's good. I've gotten almost no feedback in that regard. And I guess it's because no one's really producing media about it. And that's my issue. There were like 3 videos that were made, and one of those was from a return player. So yeah, it's just hard for me to know what could I be doing better here. Okay, so now we have this. Improves damage dealt by fungal spread. And this should update as soon as we put points into here. Nice. Cool, cool, cool. Okay, so let's try this out. So we're going to go into... Actually, how do we try this out? I guess we click grant most things. Yeah, and then turn on invincibility. All right, so however much damage we do should kill the first thing. And then we got to watch the second damage number. Ooh, 467. Okay, so now we turn this down by 1 and then restart the battle. So now it should be lower than 467. It's 289. Is that what this says? 288. Okay, that's wrong. It's got to round that number, I guess. And then if we lower this again, now it should be doing 111. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, got to round that number. That's easy enough to do. Where's the description of the ability? Here it is. Wait, no, that's correct. Probably. The thing that's not correct is fungal spread. Damage here. Multiply this. Wait a second. It was off by 2, wasn't it? How is that even possible? It says 288. What did it do? $289. No, it's off by 1. Okay, never mind. Then yeah, it could be a rounding problem. Math that round. Yeah, it was just off by 1. Yeah. Oh, can't convert double to float. Well, it's not going to build now. Yeah, that should fix it. All right, so now it should just say 289. I got to be at max level and click that. Still says 288. How is that wrong? Oh, maybe it's not rounded. Maybe it's math.ceiling. Oh, Boomer, thanks for the gifted subs. Are you is there still a discount on this? I hope it's not like 1 day too late. I hope you saved the 35% or whatever that was. But yeah, I really appreciate it. Very kind of you. Boomer also streamed himself playing the game twice. It was very nice. By the way, I'm not super bothered by this. I would kind of like to figure out what's going on here. There was a discount. Okay, good. Yeah, cool. I'm glad. Yeah, I was actually thinking there's probably... Never mind. It's just what I'm about to say wasn't going to be interesting. It's not that... Yeah, it's just ignore that I started talking about something. Let's put a breakpoint here. As soon as I hover over this, it should get hit. So what's happening here? Base damage of this times the damage multiplier is equal to 287.6. How is it doing 289 damage then? What? I don't know. The damage multiplier is passed in here. And it's all just going to be based on the base damage anyway. Which is get power. Oh, that's get base power. What's the difference? Function should generally only be used for tooltips because it doesn't take buffs into account. Okay, that's technically correct then. I don't know what's going on then. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Also, it's nice to see. I feel like I've watched enough people play the demo now where I know what issues they struggled with, and that's why I worked on it for like 2 months to fix them. But for a while, I didn't. So anyone streaming the game, I would learn like another thing that I could address. And man, the most recent thing that we had modified was adding the exclamation mark for skills that you have unspent. That helped a ton. I only watched like 3 people play after I did that, but they all were like, oh, that's really nice. Oh yeah, I am not sure what's going wrong here. The battle system itself, when it renders floating text, also does something here to show the damage number. Here it is. Modified damage amount : 0. There's no enemy damage mitigation. I'm not sure why this is happening. All right, I'm gonna put a breakpoint here, I guess. Oh, whoops, what am I doing? Okay, now I want to see this says 288, which I still don't know why that's happening. So we, nope, 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 fail out of that. Go over here, but with just this. Acker, thanks for the sub. Welcome. All right, this should break in. Cool. Damage is 444. So that's correct. And then it should kill another bat, and it does 289 that time. What? What's going on? Does the power of this thing change? Its power. Whoa, what? Its power is 177.885. Okay, that's not expected. Oh my God, I know why this is happening. Oh God. It's the same problem as earlier, and it's biting me again. It's this. I gave the mushroom class empowered spellcasting. It's not supposed to have that ability, but I need it to have 3 abilities. So I just put something there, and this improves their power every single time they use an ability. So that's why it's going up slightly. So this is probably working even without the math round, although possibly we needed that to be there. Not sure. I was getting the end game and wishing there was a crazy hard boss to beat. Yeah, I mean, that'll probably be in the final game, but it's not in the demo. But also, I don't plan on ever adding it to the demo. I think the demo doesn't need that. Okay, so the question is, if we were to remove this and set this to, I don't know, steady shooting or something like that, and then see how much damage it does without me rounding this. Approved, no fungal spread. Yeah, so what if we get rid of the math.round here? I don't think people are going to care or notice this stuff, so this doesn't really matter. Looking forward to it in the release game, yeah. Okay, so we click that, click that. It says 288. So 288 is wrong. So this should be rounded. Is this like 288.5? No, it's 2. Oh, wait. Oh, no. It's rounding it automatically. Yeah, so we don't need to do anything. And the thing that's going to change now is it's going to do this much in battle. That's what we changed. So now it should say 288. Let's do that and that. So it does the first one, it's 400 something. I don't actually know what. I don't care. And we do the second one, and it is 288. Perfect. Cool, cool, cool. Curated demo is important for first impressions. Yeah, well, it also highlighted that I just don't like games as much as I used to. I feel bad. I feel like it was a disservice to everybody. But I needed to learn that lesson, and I'd like to do a video on it now. So I got something out of it. There we go. Cool. This ability has been coded, and it looks like it's working. So we can check this in. I mean, just to not change the diff here, let's do that. Okay, so check in all of this. Add improved fungal spread. Is that what it's called? Yeah. Okay, so I know you were making fun of me during your stream about like, oh, there's too much text. It wasn't that I was reading all of the text to begin with, but at some point I want there to be gameplay. And seriously, if you look at, I played for, I think 12 minutes. I seriously think that like 10 and a half of those minutes were just text. That is too much text. I don't even mind if there's like a minute or two. I would have kept reading it. But yeah, knowing that there are other demos I was going to play. That's the other problem with like shotgunning a bunch of games is if the game you're playing is not fun, you're going to move on to another one, and you don't know that it's going to be fun. And if you can't play the game, you're never going to get to the point where you even discover that it's going to be fun. Okay, so what do we have left? Class design, there it is. Zavoy, thanks for the resub. You're almost at 1 year. Wow. Time flies. Okay, so we've coded Spore Cloud, Fungal Spread. I'm just going to put check marks next to these. And improved fungal spread. Next up is accelerated regeneration, which does not have any improved ability afterward. So it's instantaneously healed to full at the end of battle, so there's no regeneration time. This has to happen before we compute regeneration times for the party. Yeah, it shows how long I've been working on it. Crazy. I think we'll code this and then I'll probably get lunch. I haven't taken a break and it's been 3 hours and 20 minutes, which is kind of stupid. I probably should have taken a break. So I've needed to pee for like the last hour. So yeah, I'll probably just get lunch after coding this one. What is this, Amazon? Somebody give me a bottle. All right, there's accelerated regeneration. So how's this going to work? It's just the existence of this ability that at the end of the battle, we're going to check to see if the adventurer has this. No, it's got to be if the battler had this. We need to see if the battler had this ability at the end of battle. And if so, we regenerate them to full. All right, so this is going to be passive and it's just 1 level. How does this know what... Oh, this doesn't have levels. All right, I guess let's... Ooh, what's that doing there? Improved fungal spread. Let's save this as... What are we calling this? Accelerated regeneration? Yeah. Accelerated regeneration. Cool. So some people cry at their desks? What? Why? That wasn't due to a break kind of thing, right? I was going to say, I don't care what the company policy is. I need to use the bathroom and it's been, you know, like, as long as I'm not using the bathroom every 3 minutes or something, then I will just go use the bathroom. And if I get fired for that, then that's a job I don't think I would have wanted. Not related to bathroom breaks. Okay, yeah, I was going to say, I've never heard of that in an office job, especially not a customer-facing office job. Like, I imagine if you're a receptionist, you probably need to put up a break sign or something. But, yeah. Think how much our story is told in Super Metroid, the original Dark Souls without text dump. I mean, Super Metroid did a lot of things well for the time. And the environment and atmosphere, I think they just nailed it. I think it's amazing. So the max level of this does not exist because this is a passive. And the display name of this is going to be accelerated regeneration. The description is going to say instantaneously heals How do we word these? Mushroom name at the end of a battle so that there is no regeneration time. Yeah, something like that. Show don't tell. Yeah, yeah. Star Wars, I wonder, like, I don't think the beginning of Star Wars probably hurt it that much because probably there was a bunch of buzz around this being like the sci-fi movie of the decade. And it hadn't been done to death at that point. 180 difference with work-life balance. That's good to hear. And you just have golden handcuffs. Okay, so we don't need a skill table for this. We just need messages, get description. Then we pass in mushroom name as the all adventurer data dot get the mushroom display name. And I don't think we need anything else here. We could pass that in as their display. I don't really care. Okay, so the ability itself is looking fine, but we need to make this ability work. So let's go take a look at it in the game. All adventure data accelerated. What, it's not here? Did I call it the wrong thing? Oh, no, I had to delete it from that. Excuse me. I mean, this sort of thing, I think if you work in big tech, your compensation is already higher than like most people that you're going to talk to, such that even getting refreshers is nice. I'm basically trying to say there's a level of entitlement in a nice way. I have a friend who's working at not quite a big tech company, but like close-ish to that, and they just cut they cut a big portion of their compensation, and there's no recourse for that. There's just you're making less money every year now, and I know that happens from time to time, and it's better than a layoff. But it's like even with that, it's still making pretty good money. But we adapt to our circumstances, don't we? Okay, so here it is. Instantaneously heals Mushy at the end of a battle, so that there is no regeneration time. Okay, yeah, so cool. We did that, but it's not working. Now we have a revive if dead function, and this is called at the end of a battle. Yeah, so what we need to do is check here if the battler has the accelerated regeneration thing, and then heal them to full if they do. Yeah. Sure thing, Megger. By the way, you can just ask the question. One thing I don't like in this chat is when people segment messages. But yeah, go ahead. Let me know what your question is. Getting into big tech is very life-changing. Entry-level engineers at AWS remaining the same as principal SDs elsewhere, yeah. I think I have tin or copper handcuffs. Yeah, fintech I've heard not great things about. Oh, I guess it all depends on the person. I mean, even big tech. Like I have a lot of friends in big tech, and I gotta say, I think their general stress and anxiety levels are high. Like I think that's the average that I see. It takes a special kind of person to work at a big tech company where your coworkers are stressed out and not be stressed out. Do you think that the more I work, the more I can reach a level from where I earn money? By the way, this message was tagged at you. Please do read it because I have only 2 rules in chat and you're violating one of them. You think the more I work, the more I can reach a level where I can earn money from 0 full stack. Uh, we're in a weird industry right now, or a weird time in our industry, in that layoffs have increased, AI use has increased, and I think I think it's kind of just those things for right now. So basically, like hiring has changed. Um, had you asked this question 10 years ago, I probably would have said, yeah, I think you can just start and you can do something. But I'm hearing about people with CS degrees right now who are trying to find jobs, and it's just very difficult. I have some friends who were laid off with like somewhere between 5 to 15 years of experience, depending on the friend, and they're finding it hard. Actually, 5 to 20, I think, in one of these cases. They're finding it hard to find a job. So could you just start from nothing and get a job? Like, yeah, that route has always existed. It's probably harder now, but I think it's hard even if you got a dedicated degree for it. And I don't ever think a degree was necessary. But yeah, I just don't know what the path is to like you are here, let's say no experience learning, to you got a job. I don't know what that path looks like anymore. It used to be you just apply to a bunch of places and somewhere would be like, oh yeah, well, your portfolio looks good, you got the skills we need. And now how do you even talk to someone with like 4,000 AI applications? I don't want to get in a job, I want to create something. Oh yeah, yeah, that's definitely possible. Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's possible. But that this is possible in practically every industry. It's basically like, can I make something without a formal education? And the answer is yes. And can I make money from that? Is It's up to you and your skills. That's pretty much it. I recommend anyone going into computer science or software engineering. SaaS or creating a website and getting money. Yeah. It's definitely possible. It's the same as any business. It's identify a need and fill that need, or do it better than somebody else is doing, or offer it at some other benefit or lower price. Yeah. Okay, so checking to see if a battler has an ability. There's an abilities component on a battler, and hopefully this isn't actually gone yet. So I'm going to try to do this here. Ability component. Wait, is it abilities component? Yeah, it is. Abilities component, I guess. If abilities component dot has, it's not even has unlocked, it's get level of ability. Ability ID accelerated regeneration is greater than 0. So if it's greater than 0, then we want to get their health component and heal them to full. Okay, that should be it. This function should be moved, so I don't want to forget that. I think it's the fact that the day of boomers are now starting to end. Folks born during that time had a lot of knowledge, and since they're retired, these companies are now asking for that same level of knowledge. It's a constant need for a 20-year person in an entry-level job. I think there are many aspects to this, and I think part of it is just AI flooding the entire hiring process, and it's on both sides. So now you see like AI job postings, and if you have a job posting, then you see AI applicants, and then the interviews themselves can be done by AI at this point. So Monadic Bind in chat mentioned this, but maybe like 2 to 3 years ago, they wanted an artist posted on what, like Fiverr, or however you spell that site, and got like 400 applicants. This is for an indie game. How do you look through even 40 applicants as just a one person or two people who are trying to find an artist? Like, do you know enough about art? Can you meaningfully differentiate between candidates number 17 and 32? But now multiply that by 10, you got 400 applicants or 500 applicants. Like, you probably don't even look at all the applications. So now imagine if you're a company like Google or Microsoft and you're getting probably at this point, thousands of applications. And to some extent, they always had that problem, but at least they were humans behind that. And if they were automated, it wasn't on such a grand scale that you had to question, is this person's resume even like their resume? Is this a real person? All right, so we need to enter a battle where the mushroom just dies immediately, and they should just be able to battle again right after that. So they die. And yeah, they're a full life. Wow, look at that. It worked out perfectly. Yeah, so if I just put them into an auto battle here, it should take 3 seconds in between fights. But yeah, they'll get crushed. They get crushed again. Yeah. So now the real test would be, what if we put them in a battle with somebody else there too? They should have, how long should this take for them to regenerate? 7 seconds, I think. Or 7.1. Yeah, nice. Perfect. All right, cool. One more ability down. 3 days, we got over 10,000 applications. Oh man, yeah. How do you deal with wrist pain? I've never had wrist pain to have to deal with it, so I don't have an answer to that question. All right, well, geez, this is pretty nice that this just worked. And the only thing I still wanted to do here is clean up this function, so we still need to do that. Battle system. I want to put this into, yeah, this is take adventurers out of battle. So what is this doing here? Originally, this would revive them. It would, yeah, it would remove them from battles and stuff. This would add them no matter what to here. This is only if they were an adventurer. Yeah. And then if they were an adventurer, we would set their life remaining and everything. All right, so I think I want all of this to be in its own function. Oh yeah, sorry, Dragon Master. Yeah, this is Godot. It's not custom. Let's see. We want to get the adventurer. So how about we do like, I don't know what we call this function, set end of battle life, or like handle end of battle life for an adventurer. And then just put all of this in there. Is that supposed to be capitalized? Yeah. Delete that. Move this entire function down to where all the other private functions are. This was not the smartest way of doing this, but it'll work. I'm committed. So we're just gonna keep dragging this down here. Almost there. Oh wow. Okay, yeah, this is a lot farther than I thought. I'd never do things this way. I don't know why I did it this way. There. Okay, so we get their adventurer class. We need the battler that corresponds to them. And that's just a node. There. Anything else that looks weird here? Oh, what? We're getting this twice? Well, well, well. We don't need to do that, and we don't need to do that. Look at us simplify this. So adventurer class to store that, revive if they're dead. They have accelerated regeneration, heal them to full. Perfect. Yeah, this is great. My eyes. I'm sorry. Job positions are low and the labor pool is insanely flooded. Yeah, the other thing I think that's kind of tough is like, okay, let's say it actually doesn't matter what your job was. Let's say you're used to making, X dollars at your last job. It's very easy to think I am worth X dollars, but that's not how that equation works. It's I am worth X dollars to this kind of company with this amount of resources. So like, if we just fill in some numbers here, let's say you're worth whatever, $200,000 to Microsoft or something like that. Like to a startup, you're not worth that much money. You're worth whatever, like 120,000 or something. So I think people want to make at least lateral moves. They typically want to go up. But yeah, it's easy to be like, well, I made this much at some job, so I should make that much from here on out. Like, well, you got to prove it to that company, right? It's a clean slate every time. All right, so I'm glad we refactored this. I think this is good. We should probably write something here of like this. This happens at the end of the battle, but before we've calculated the regeneration time. Where does that take place? Generation component rate? Yeah, here, where is that? After battle stage ended. Okay, that's fine. Yeah. How long have I been in software? Take a look at that. Manager's trying to hire people. It's nearly impossible. You're trying to look for a needle in a haystack. Yeah. Yeah, and then how do you even know that this person is who they're representing themselves to be? Maybe they lied about their experience. Maybe they didn't even do the interview themselves. I remember when I was at Google and I was interviewing people, the weirdest interview I was ever part of, I was asking this guy questions and he just like outright ignored me. Like imagine that they wrote something, whatever, console.log, whatever X is, and they wrote this line of code and I'm like, oh hey, what does that do? Or why did you add that there? They just did not answer me. I know they heard me. I think they were cheating on their interview. And so I think they had like someone talking in their ear or something and they couldn't hear me tell them, they couldn't hear me ask the questions. Actually, I never thought about that until just now. Yeah, the other person might not have been able to hear them or hear me, sorry. It's just bizarre. So like I rated that person very low. I'm like, this person does not deserve to work here. It was the strangest interview I've ever been part of. Okay, this is looking good. Handle end of battle life. Looks good. Then we go way down here. Yep. Cool. Yeah, nice. All right, add accelerated regeneration. Okay, we've made good progress. I will not say it's been great progress because we've coded 4 of the 10 abilities. So we have 6 more that we have to do, and at least one of these is going to be a bit unusual, but actually 2 will be. Yeah. People literally Googling AI answers to the questions you ask. It's pretty crazy. Yeah. I was torn on conducting interviews. I think it was good experience, but I was always a little bit nervous because you have to know enough about the question you're asking and about what sort of failure modes you might see and then sort of how to get them back on track. And all that while taking notes and everything. Granted, the note taking part I had down pat, but the rest of that I was always like, man, the interviewee is probably way more nervous, but I was still slightly nervous doing that. So I'm like, man, I'm judging these people, and I was, let's say, 1/5 of the process, but still, that's 20% of the input that someone who's going to make this decision has. So if you say, oh, this is the worst candidate I've ever seen, they probably won't get a job. And you're doing that for the benefit of the company you're working at, but like, doesn't mean they're a bad person or a bad worker. Do I have a job or just an independent developer? Yeah, this is the job I'm doing. Making Skeleseller. Okay, so I think today has gone pretty well. I'm glad that I'm back to just working on this stuff. I think it was productive. We made some progress. Started working on new content for once. Worked on Mushy, the mushroom. Yeah. I'm not scared of the technical questions more than I'm scared of the soft skill questions. If I don't know an answer for something technical, I just say I wasn't taught that, but I'm willing to learn it. My hardest part is trying to keep the conversation going and not have those awkward silences. Yeah, and it's tough too because it's like a performance and you don't know when you'll get your next opportunity for it. So a lot feels like it's on the line for that one interview so that some things can start to go wrong or you're not thinking as calmly as you might have been. How do interviews go in big tech? Got my job by having a friendly chat with my boss about the things I'd written in the past. They're very standardized depending on the company. So like Google, they pretty much just publish what they do. They have some number of, like, let's say coding interviews. Then they have some number of system design interviews. And then some number of behavioral interviews. And all of these are pretty well understood. So this is pretty much like a leak code sort of thing. This is, well, I guess leak code also has system design, but it's pretty much like a design, X system and just it's open-ended. You talk about everything you're doing, the trade-offs you're making, and then this is, you know, tell me about a time when blah, or what did you do to overcome that, or how are you going to be a good fit for this team, those sorts of things. So you can study for all of these, you can do mock interviews for all of these, but it's definitely a skill to interview for these skills. The skill itself is like, can you code? But then to interview, can you code is a completely different skill. Can you think out loud as you're coding? Can you explain every single thing that you're doing? Can you weigh the trade-offs before you pursue this stuff and code without compiling or running, maybe, depending on the company? Say the things I need to see and tell them if they're interested. Work on these things. That's really nice. Yeah, a lot of places don't do that. And I feel like it's because it's a liability. Is there anyone around you who got rich from scratch by writing code, at least $1 million USD? So just to be clear here, this is the kind of thing I'm talking about when I say no segmenting. Just put that into one message in the future. Rich from scratch by writing code? Yes. There is. Hey, Lana. This is a bad time for me to say that I'm about to be ending the stream. I've been streaming for almost 4 hours with no break whatsoever. And I said I had to use the bathroom for like the last 90 minutes. Lanada raid. Lanada. I like my shirt. Thank you. As long as everyone's here. How many of them? I don't know. At least one. Got a raid run. All right, take care, Lana. Thank you for the raid. Yeah, breaks are for the week. I mean, that's how I've been treating it. I've been working on Skeleseller. All of you, well, not all of you, but most of you have probably seen it if you've been in a raid before from Lana, because I've been working on the same thing for like 14 months at this point. But it's an idle light game, which means you're not directly controlling everything, but you're also not standing back and having nothing happen. And it is available on Steam as a demo. We are in Next Fest right now. All eyes on the game definitely help. Wishlisting the game helps. But really, just give it a shot if you want to try it out. It's a very, very casual game. The main goal is for people to just have fun playing it. So you should be able to turn off your brain and just play. There's not that much to learn. There are no bad mistakes you can make. You can correct pretty much everything. I'm going to show the game quickly here. We've been working on a new adventurer. This little, wait, it's stacked on top of the paladin. This little mushroom character. So this is Mushy. And I don't have any icons yet. So we're working on skills for them today. They have Spore Cloud, which does a ton of damage. They have Fungal Spread, which is when they kill something with Spore Cloud, they'll do even more damage to other stuff. And then they heal the full at the end of every battle automatically. And then what is this one? Oh yeah, increase the damage dealt by this ability. So yeah, they're working. They've got their animation in battle. I could kind of show this if I do this. Okay, yeah, so here they are fighting a bat. And after 7 seconds, they put their little mushroom hands in the ground. And they produce a spore cloud. And this character's level 1. It's not really balanced or anything, so this battle's going to take forever. I guess 3 attacks, so roughly 22 seconds is what we'll see at the end of this. Yeah, 22 seconds. Yeah. Not too much reading. That's right. Can't imagine 3D games. Yeah, it definitely makes things a little more complicated. Also, your assets become more complicated too. It's not just like draw an 8x8 sprite or something. It's like model the character, make a mesh for them, handle all the animations for them. Shroomer is gonna be my main. I think they're a cool idea. I'm glad we came up with it. But yeah, we only have 4 of the required 10 skills. So yeah, we'll work on the rest in the afternoon. Unfortunately, like I said, I've been streaming for too long without taking a break. I need food. I need to just stand. I need to use the bathroom. So I am going to get going. I'm sorry for those who just came in during the raid. I'll only be gone for about an hour. We'll do the afternoon stream. And I'll be coding so many more of these abilities. So 6 more. It's programming the AI bad. Very short answer since I'm heading out. I don't think it's bad, but I think if your goal is to learn, that using AI to code is bad. I think using AI to learn is what you should probably do. Refund for raid. Okay, here's your $2.50 voucher for the next raid. Do what you gotta do. Well, thank you all for being here. Thanks for watching. I hope you had a good time in Lana's stream, and I hope you have a good rest of the day. I will get going now, and I will leave you with the same 2 links I typically always leave. But yeah, hope to see you again in the afternoon. Goodbye, everybody. Also, we only raid in the afternoon stream. See ya.